Today, more clouds, warm, slightly humid on Saturday, a high of 90. Sunday, humid, chance for showers and storms, a high of 82. Monday, showers and a high of 75. Right now in Madison, it's 75 degrees. Green Bay is 76. Waukesha, 73. And in Milwaukee, 69. I'm Eric Bilstead. Siding Unlimited, WTMJ News Time, 9:08.
Breaking down the biggest stories. Talking about what truly matters.
Sometimes I'll start a sentence, and I don't even know where it's going. I just hope I find it along the way, like an improv conversation.
And letting your voice be heard.
Hello. A political poll. I never have before, but go ahead, shoot. I don't know. I don't even know what that means.
Live from the Annex Wealth Management Studios at the Avenue.
It's showtime, everybody! Showtime!
Hey, people, it's showtime!
All right, everybody, it's showtime.
All right, everybody, it's showtime!
Now take your position. It's showtime.
Now in for Steve, here's your host, Tracy Johnson.
Good morning, Wisconsin. Great to be with you today. I am Tracy Johnson in for Steve Scaffidi on this beautiful Thursday. It is opening day for Summerfest, as you are going to hear over and over and over again on this station. It is a season for me. It is a lifestyle for me. I consider it kind of a holiday, if you will. I know when it was over the course of the weekdays, I've been known to take a few days off here and there. We are now with the three weekend format that we've been with for the last couple of years, and we're going to talk about that a little bit later in the show. But there are a number of other festivals also taking place this weekend, including Greek Fest at State Fair Park. That's a great free festival, as well as Cedarburg Strawberry Festival. I feel like those don't get talked about as much, but if you are looking to festival hop this weekend, this is what Wisconsin is all about. And I think the weather is going to be beautiful. Maybe some rain on Sunday, but it's going to be a great and action-packed weekend for festivals here in southeastern Wisconsin. I'm here this morning until 12 o'clock with Brandon Sneed. We will be chatting back and forth on a couple of different topics, but we've got an action-packed show, and I invite you to be a part of it on the Old National Bank talk and text line, 855-616-1620. We will be following breaking news if and when it happens this morning, as well as some of the latest events in Madison with the state budget, some federal issues. I'm going to spend a fair amount of time on important business and real estate issues that impact you, impact your business. These are issues that I care about, and so should all of you. And for those who don't know me, I work in the commercial real estate space. I have the great honor and pleasure of representing commercial realtors across the state of Wisconsin. So you're going to hear me talk a little bit about that here and there, whether it's some of the updates happening with Northridge, some of the back to office issues. So we invite you to be a part of that. Before we begin, though, I have to admit, and we didn't talk about this in Crosstalk, I have just returned from a 2-week vacation. I was overseas, so I am still on Europe time a little bit. So I woke up at 3 o'clock in the morning, and I accomplished a lot today already. So it's been a great day. But, you know, I was able to keep on top of a lot of these topics and a great vacation. And I know many of you are probably heading out of town for the summer. I mean, this is a great time to travel. Take that time with your kids, with your family. I will say that, it's busy out there. In fact, travel overall is really up. And I think some of it obviously is the fact that people weren't able to travel during the pandemic. And so there's a lot of pent up demand. But one of the things I learned while I was overseas, I was actually in Paris, one of the really cool cities I had the opportunity to attend. And I speak a little bit of French. And one of my favorite things about that trip was actually the cab rides, because I was able to sit in the front seat and have like a little conversation with the cab drivers and test out my French and learn a little bit about the local flair and what's going on. And they kept saying time and time again just how busy it was. They were saying that travel in the city of Paris, just as one example, was up something like 33%. And, I kind of looked through that information, verifying that data. And it does turn out European travel is up by something like 55% this year. So I think that shouldn't be a reason for you not to do it, although it does inflate the prices. It does, make things a little more chaotic, especially in the airports. But, overall, if you pack your patience and you just look at it with a positive attitude, it is really such a great experience. And I'm so grateful to have had that opportunity. But enough about my travels. I'm going to talk about it a little bit here and there throughout the show. I am just riveted by this submarine, this exploratory submarine that was looking to check out the wreckage of the Titanic, and just learning more about this vessel that was carrying 5 explorers. This was not a scientifically built machine. This was really something that was put together, very entrepreneurial. In my mind, if I was paying $250,000 for the opportunity to do this, I would be looking for a few more safety measures. And, one of the things I learned was that in the contract for these people to actually take this expedition, there were multiple warnings that there could be death involved, that this was not going to an amusement park ride, a merry-go-round. This is going 13,000 feet into the depths of the ocean. And, just continuing to follow this and thinking that at this very moment, these people could be taking their last breath. It's just a horrific thing to think about. And I don't know if we'll learn anything from this when we finally do. If we do find this wreckage, what will we learn from this? Will this be a warning shot to these rich people who want to take these risky endeavors to think about it a little more? Or, is that just in their blood? I think about Richard Branson and Elon Musk and how they're going into space with civilian aircraft. And, it just strikes me that we need to learn something from this. And I don't know what it is. I know we're going to continue to follow this. And is this a situation where we find these people or we find this vessel in 5 minutes too late or 10 minutes too late? I just hope and pray. And I know that our hearts and our thoughts are with everyone who's involved in that effort over the next couple of hours, days, weeks, and hopefully not months. But right now, on today's show, we are watching a few potentially breaking issues. The U.S. Supreme Court is expected to rule on several key issues any day now, including forgiveness of student loan debt, affirmative action in colleges. There are a couple other issues, and if those break over the next few hours, we will cover that. We actually have Rick Essenberg, president for Wisconsin Institute for Liberty and Law, who will be with us in the 11 o'clock hour. And if those by chance break, we will discuss. If not, we have lots of other topics that we can talk about with Rick. Also on the show, we're seeing more and more stories like this as crime continues to be an issue in big cities and perpetrators aren't held to account. And that story is the employees that are taking matters into their own hands and confronting these criminals. Well, the companies are siding with the criminals. We just saw a lawsuit out of Colorado, an employee who worked for Circle K, who was fired for chasing down a thief, was fired. This was in 2020, and she is now suing. And this is on the heels of that incident with the Lululemon in Georgia, where workers were fired for confronting people who were running out of the stores. So we're going to talk about that because it's not as black and white as I think some of these CEOs may be looking at it in terms of safety and security for their employees. And the shared revenue bill is now law. And it was signed into law by Tony Evers on Tuesday. And what do you know? There has been a lawsuit threatened by Common Council. I have very strong feelings about this, and we're going to talk about that in the next session. And then marijuana. This is always a topic that gets a lot of attention, and I have a lot of questions about the NCAA that is pushing to basically weed out marijuana from its banned drug list. So all of that and more when we come back on WTMJ. I'm Tracy Johnson, in for Steve Scaffidi.
You're listening to the Steve Scaffidi Show on WTMJ. Are you ready to step up to the plate and test your skills?
Hey, bada, swing, bada.
Join Steve every Friday at 10:35 for a rousing round of virtual baseball to win awesome prizes.
Oh, baby.
Steve Scaffidi's Virtual Baseball, presented by Siding Unlimited.
This is what's great about sports. This is what the greatest thing about sports is. You play to win the game.
Every Friday at 10:35.
Hey, former radio wake-up guy Gene Miller here for my friends at Hometown Windows and Doors. That's Hometown with an E for your every window and door need. If that recent cold snap made you think that now is the time to replace those drafty old windows, then now is a good time to call Hometown Windows and Doors. Save heating costs now, cooling dollars down the road with energy-efficient replacement windows and doors from Hometown. Hometown offers the brands you trust like Anderson, Pella, Marvin, Softlight, and more in wood, vinyl, and fiberglass. And all of their products are installed by employee carpenters. Plus, Hometown is the area's only Pella Platinum and Marvin authorized replacement company. Hometown's dedicated consultants can guide you to the best fit and value for your home and your remodeling dollar. Stop in at their newly remodeled showroom in New Berlin and see the Hometown difference for yourself. Or call them for a no-pressure in-home consultation, 414-329-1200, or visit them at hometownwindows.com. That's Hometown with an E for your every window and door need.
Experience fast, affordable family fun at Elkhart Lakes Road America. With on-site camping, free parking, and free admission for kids 16 and younger when accompanied with an adult, Road America offers world-class racing and so much more. From sports cars to NASCARs, you can even host your next company picnic or family reunion. Get the full race schedule at roadamerica.com. That's roadamerica.com or call 800-365-7223. Road America, America's national park of speed.
When a new baby is added to the mix, saving money becomes a real priority. Shopping at St. Vincent de Paul thrift stores can help. With an abundance of baby clothing and toys, all thrift store priced at pennies on the dollar. You'll spend a little to get a lot. Find great deals on gently used baby clothes and toys at St. Vincent de Paul thrift stores on Highway 100 in Layton and Greenfield and 23rd and Lincoln in Milwaukee.
Ooh, you're gonna love it, St. Vincent de Paul.
Now, more of the Steve Scaffidi Show on WTMJ.
Welcome back on WTMJ. I'm Tracy Johnson, in for Steve until noon today. I'm just going to let this go. All right. So when we put together the show, you know, we talk about issues that we care about, that we know about, that we're involved with. You got to stick to those issues. Issues that you're curious about and passionate about. And this next topic is one that I am very, very involved with. And I got to be honest, I'm super disappointed with how things are going. And that is the state shared revenue issue. All right. We signed a bill into law. Tony Evers signed a bill into law on Tuesday that was passed by the state assembly and the state senate. And basically what this did is gave cities, municipalities, more tools to provide services for their constituents through shared revenue. And this has been a topic forever for local leaders. They need more money. And along with that was the Milwaukee piece. It was a carve-out piece for the city of Milwaukee to be able to increase its sales tax in order to pay down pension obligation, in order to provide services and to create another way to generate revenue. And I work for a business organization that was very involved in this issue. And one of the issues, the reasons that we were involved is because creating that those tools for those municipalities would decrease the burden on the property tax. And with very high property taxes and everything going on the property tax, that is an issue for municipalities, especially in a state where we have levy limits. We have levy limits on municipalities, so they can't increase those dollars as easily as it may sound. So creating a shared revenue solution was always the goal. And then having that opportunity for the city of Milwaukee to raise the sales tax to pay down a pension obligation, which is a huge issue and will hold the city back for years and years and decades to come. Leaders have been involved in this conversation for 4 to 5 years now. And, I have been one of the stakeholders with letters of support, attending hearings, meetings, doing interviews, saying how I support the plan, the idea that we move forward. And we got a deal done. There was negotiation. And that negotiation required the city of Milwaukee to agree to a set of rules and stipulations and a number of what they're calling strings attached to these dollars. You got to have officers in the schools. You can't use the money for diversity and inclusion programs. You can't use the money for the streetcar. We need to know that you have a certain number of officers and fire professionals to protect this city. These are proven benchmarks that help cities be safe and prosperous and thrive and survive. And you needed all of these legislators to buy into this idea across the state. People who weren't in the city of Milwaukee need to buy into this. And so you had to negotiate. And so Robin Voss in the assembly said, I want this deal to go to the voters. This sales tax increase is going to have to go to the voters. And city officials, myself included, our organization, along with many other business groups, said, no, you need to allow the Common Council and the county board to pass this with a majority vote. And there was negotiation. And ultimately, that is what got through. And so now what you have is this bill signed into law with these quote unquote strings attached for the city of Milwaukee. And you have Common Council leadership turning around and saying, you know what, we're going to sue you because we don't like those strings attached. We want that money. We did this deal. We want that money. But we don't want to play by the rules. We acted in good faith to get this done, to get this across the finish line. And now we're looking at a lawsuit? How is the business community, how are these elected officials supposed to come to the table in good faith in the future if what we're going to see is sniping behind the scenes to undo the deal or undo certain portions of the deal because we don't like them? We all had our opportunity. And I know that there were people who didn't like the strings attached. They were vocal about it. But you know what? You signed the deal. We got the deal done. And we need the mayor and the county executive to stand up to this and say, we need to dismiss this threat of a lawsuit. It hasn't been filed yet. But I'm feeling very, very disappointed in the fact that this conversation is taking place. This deal was too important, and these parameters and guardrails are necessary to get the deal done. So there's a lot still to happen here. The bill is signed into law. But this isn't the end of the story. And so I hope that cooler heads prevail so that we can all benefit from the success and the ideas and the collaboration that has taken place for all of these months leading up to this deal. It's 9:27 on WTMJ.
This is the Steve Scaffidi Show on WTMJ.
Start planning for your retirement today so you enjoy retirement tomorrow. Saturday mornings at 11 and Sunday mornings at 7, where Tony Drake and his Education First team discuss retirement trends, taxes, inflation, and Social Security benefits to help you achieve a more secure financial future.
Join us this week as we talk about the 2017 Tax Cut and Jobs Act expiring at the end of 2025 and what that means for your retirement.
Retirement Ready with Tony Drake on WTMJ.
The year is almost half over and you are still dealing with that knee or hip pain, right? Enough is enough. Pills are not the answer and neither is surgery. You need to call QC Kinetics. Hey, it's WTMJ's Greg Matzik. The advanced regenerative medicine solutions at QC Kinetics can give you a life without chronic joint pain. You can do all those summer activities you used to enjoy. QC Kinetics is the nation's leader in taking healing properties from your own body and applying them right to your achy joint so your joint tissue can be repaired and restored naturally. The treatment is revolutionary and it's right here in Milwaukee. Patients across America are having life-changing results and there's no drugs or surgery or downtime. If you have pain in your knees, back, shoulders, hips, you got to stop what you're doing and call QC Kinetics for a free consultation. Learn how the latest advances in regenerative medicine can give you your life back. Call 414-285-3474. That's 414-285-3474. QC Kinetics, 414-285-3474.
For adults with moderate to severe plaque psoriasis who are candidates for systemic or phototherapy, now there's Skyrizi, Risankizumab Riza, a prescription-only 150 milligram injection. With Skyrizi, 3 out of 4 people achieve 90% clear skin at 4 months, and Skyrizi is just 4 doses a year after 2 starter doses.
Nothing and me go hand in hand. Nothing on my skin, that's my new plan. Nothing is every day.
Don't use if allergic to Skyrizi. Serious allergic reactions and an increased risk of infections or a lower ability to fight them may occur. Before treatment, your doctor should check for infection and tuberculosis. Tell your doctor if you have an infection or symptoms, such as fever, sweats, chills, muscle aches, or cough, or if you plan to or recently received a vaccine.
With Skyrizi, you could achieve 90% clear skin. Ask your doctor about the #1 dermatologist-prescribed biologic in psoriasis and visit Skyrizi.com or call 1-866-SKYRIZI to learn more.
This is the Steve Scaffidi Show on WTMJ.
Welcome back on WTMJ. Hey, we are not done talking about this shared revenue. I'm getting a lot of text in. They want to know about the Brewers deal. How is this affected? Well, I have a take on that, and I will share it after the news. But right now, from the Breaking News Center, here's Eric Bilstead.
Tracy, the search for a missing submersible near the Titanic wreckage in the northern Atlantic is now hitting a critical point. A remote-operated vehicle is on the seafloor there now searching. This as oxygen runs out in that watercraft. 5 people on board that sub, which first lost contact on Sunday. A massive overhaul on the state's alcohol industry is in the works. The state assembly passing a measure that would govern the beer and wine and other sales across the state. Now, private wedding venues like wedding barns are not currently required to have a liquor license because caterers provide that alcohol, but this new plan that's passed the assembly would change those rules. Summerfest kicks off today. The gates open at noon. Eric Church is your headliner tonight. Time now for news about your money in the WTMJ Annex Wealth Management Market Update. Looking at the numbers right now, the Dow is up 2 to 33,954. The NASDAQ up 64 to 13,566. And the S&P is up 6 to 43.71. Get on track with investment and retirement planning. Visit annexwealth.com and click the Get Started button today. From the Johnson & Sons Paving WTMJ Traffic Center, 94 eastbound, Highway 16 through the zoo and into downtown. Right now, seeing a little bit of slowdown before you get to the stadium. In fact, it's starting to, those road work there is really starting to slow things down. So you're going to see some brake lights through that stretch there. As you lose a lane, right lane is going to disappear on you. So a little bit of bottleneck in there before you get to the stadium. Otherwise, you'll get through there okay. 43 north and southbound, seeing some slowdowns as well. This is north of Milwaukee, north of the Marquette interchange because of road work in that stretch too. You can expect some brake lights heading to and from the city.
Traffic is sponsored by TaybackAttorneys.com. Veterans benefits denied? Call Tayback for the payback.
Call Tayback for the payback. Tayback Law is the local veterans benefit claims law firm. They're now accepting Camp Lejeune claims. Call Tayback for the payback. TaybackAttorneys.com.
WTMJ 5-day forecast, sunny and warm. Today, a high of 87. Tonight, partly cloudy and a low of 58. Friday, a high near 90. Saturday, a high near 90. More humid on Saturday. Sunday, humid with storms possible, a high of 82. Then for Monday, a chance for showers, cloudy and a high of 75. Right now, in Milwaukee, 68 degrees at 9:32.
Hey, WTMJ's John Mercure here. There's free pizza today at the Amazing Mineshaft restaurant in Hartford. Seriously, it is free. Coaches, managers, business owners. Check this out. Every Thursday when you buy one pizza, you get a second pizza free. Buy 5 pizzas, get 5 free. You know how this goes. Buy 10, get 10 free. Any size, any quantity. So bring in your soccer, baseball, basketball, or tennis team, your club organization after practice, or game today for that free pizza. Your kids are going to love that world-class game room. It's fun. It's affordable. Team bonding, what a great idea. Bring in pizza for your loyal employees today. They're going to love it, and half your pizzas are free. You're going to love that. The Mineshaft in beautiful downtown Hartford and in Oshkosh, just off the interstate. Stop today for your free pizza with your family, with your employees. I love the pepperoni at the Mineshaft. It's the real deal. The Friday cod fish fry is all you can eat. It's under $10. It's the best fish fry value anywhere. Order your pizza now. Pick it up shortly. Visit mineshaft.restaurant.com. It's the Mineshaft.
Lane's Farm and Fleet's 4th of July sale is going on now. We're saluting the red, white, and blue with unbeatable deals on everything you need to celebrate outdoors. Like men's Lee Extreme Motion Shorts, just $34.99. Roundup Sure Shot Weed and Grass Killer for Lawns, $29.99 plus $5 mail-in rebate. Select Lifetime Sit-In Kayaks, only $229.99. Rewards members save an extra $20. And Jolly Pets Dog Toys, 25% off.
Find value at Lane's Farm and Fleet. Okay, so inventory, then suppliers, then staffing plan, overhead, and bookkeeping. Or suppliers first, then bookkeeping, inventory, overhead.
Running a small business can be full of distractions. U.S. Cellular wants to give small business owners one less thing to think about. 3 months of free service with 10 gigabytes of mobile hotspot data.
Oh, that's nice.
Join the network that allows you and your business to focus on what really matters. Get 3 months of free service with 10 gigabytes of mobile hotspot data. U.S. Cellular. Built for business, built for us. Terms and conditions apply. Visit uscellular.com for details.
Now, more of the Steve Scaffidi Show on WTMJ.
All right, welcome back on WTMJ 934 on this beautiful Thursday, opening day for Summerfest. And I am going to add some value here in terms of providing you with some news you can use and information you can use if you are looking to go down to Summerfest today. Everyone who arrives between noon and 3 p.m. and donates at least 3 non-perishable cans of healthy fruits or vegetables or any 3 non-perishable food items for the Hunger Task Force will get in free. Limit 1 ticket per person. So pack up those non-perishables and bring them down to Summerfest and enjoy this beautiful day. I know that the side stages are packed all throughout the day. And if you don't see any music you like, you can go and stand outside the WTMJ booth and, say hi to Jeff Wagner because he'll be down there.
You want to know a fun fact about me, Tracy?
I do.
I have never been to Summerfest.
I'm not sure if that's a fun fact or like fake news. I feel like that's fake news. There's no way.
No, I promise. I never did. So when 4 days after I graduated high school, and I don't mean to get you off track here for your show, but 4 days after high school, I left for the Army. And I didn't come back in the summer until I moved back home, which was July of 2019. So Summerfest had just concluded.
Yes.
2020, it was obviously shut down. 2021, it was kind of weird. And then last year, I didn't go. So I have a mission to go this year.
Okay, do you have tickets yet? Because I can help you with tickets.
I do not. Steve was going to help me with tickets, but I don't mind paying.
Well, I know, but we need to make this like a VIP experience. I feel like we're going to make this happen, and then you're going to report back because I think I'm going to be back later in July. I don't know, but you have to get down to Summerfest. It's the 55th anniversary, and okay. Speaking of fun facts, fun fact about me and Summerfest is I collect the pins for Summerfest.
Those are cool.
Yeah, and I literally have a pin from every year, and it is like prominently on display, and I'm very proud of it. It's a little bit dorky, but
Well, you're proud. I mean, it's a cool thing. I mean, it's the largest music festival in the world. You got to be proud of it in our backyard.
Yeah, it's awesome, and I can't wait to go down there. And there are so many ways to get in for free. There's so many free acts, and then also like Eric Church. That is world-class musician.
Ready for another fun fact?
Yes.
Eric Church once sent me an autographed CD when I was stationed in Iraq.
What?
Yeah, so this was before Eric Church was Eric Church. It was his first album, and nobody really knew like who he was. He's kind of like an up and coming artist. And I had a friend who had a connection to him, and he personalized a CD for me. I wish I still had it. I don't know what happened to it, but that was 2009, so it's been a while.
Okay, so what made him send that to you? Were you like on a fan site or something?
No, so somebody on Facebook had messaged me. They saw that I was serving in Iraq, and they were like, "Hey, do you like country music?" I said, "I love country music." They said, "Do you like Eric Church?" I said, "I love Eric Church." And they asked for my address. I wasn't expecting anything like to that, where that was at. But he got a package like 3 weeks later. It was a CD, a shirt, a hat. And then I opened the CD. It was autographed.
That is awesome. And, I think I went to an Eric Church show before I knew who, he was. It was like, it was like with in a box or something. But I remember thinking, what a cool performer and his engagement with the audience. I remember he also wore sunglasses the whole time, right?
Even at night.
That's his thing. Okay. All right. So I know that's probably a sold out show. People are going to love it. I also got a texter saying, note that the new currently free MCTS Connect One electric rapid transit bus is an excellent way for people to get to and from Summerfest. So take advantage of those free bus routes as well. You can get there for free, and then you're going to pay $25 for a beer. But who's counting? It's Summerfest. So we were talking about in the last segment the shared revenue bill, and we got a lot of interaction from and feedback from listeners to say, well, what do you expect from Milwaukee? Or, this is just to be expected. And, I push back on that a little bit because I was in the room, and I will defend the people who, Republicans and Democrats, who I believed were working in good faith to get this done. They all expressed their concern with some of the strings attached, but they understood why they needed to be there. This is a compromise. And, while some people and many people don't think much of some of our elected officials, I say it's probably because you don't know them very well and because possibly media spins a lot of their points of view, or sometimes the, issues are taken just in a broad swath. And you don't know how these individuals are maneuvering to protect their constituents, to create a deal that's for the good of everyone. And so I am not a politician. And, I came to the table, and many businesses came to the table, and business leaders came to the table, understanding that by signing on to these letters and signing on to support for these initiatives, we are putting our reputations on the line. And we wanted to be a part of this historic legislation, bipartisan legislation that was for the good of our state, for the good of our municipalities, and for the good of our city of Milwaukee. And so to see this lawsuit be discussed really, really sets me back. And I think it will set a lot of people back. And I think it will set a lot of people back as we discuss ways to move forward in the future. We live in a state where you have Republican leadership and dominant leadership throughout the state. And so we need to have a way. And I thought this was a great representation of working together. And it's just unfortunate to see that there could be potential lawsuit. I think it will put a lot of people back on their heels as we try to move forward on very important issues, whether it's education, whether it's tax reform. We need everybody to be at the table in this. And so I was asked also the question about how this impacts the Brewer Stadium funding. I think we heard Speaker Voss suggest in a soundbite that was released last night or early this morning that, this is going to take some local support, and that this is a statewide issue, supporting and investing in Miller Park, which is owned by the state. All right, we have to keep this facility in good condition. And as a result of having this asset in good condition, we will benefit from the income tax, from the job creation, from the tourism that comes from people visiting this stadium and doing business in and around the stadium, whether it's the Brewers or concerts or what have you. And I think that there's general consensus that this needs to get done. And we saw the city and the county, or not the city, the county say local isn't going to be involved in this. And so I think now you're going to have another battle because the speaker is suggesting we need local involvement because Milwaukee will benefit disproportionately. The city and the county will benefit more than the rest of the state, although the rest of the state will benefit greatly from that investment. So I do still believe it will get done. From day one, the order in which this was going to happen was going to be, let's get the shared revenue bill done, let's get the budget done before July 4th, and then let's talk about the Brewers Stadium funding. And Joint Finance is meeting today to discuss some of the final important issues of the budget, transportation, a number of other issues. And so we're going to start to see that come to hit the headlines in the next couple of days, and hopefully this will resolve itself before the July 4th holiday. And we will move forward on a Brewers Stadium deal. I think there's still a lot of negotiation that needs to happen, but to have this lawsuit threatened, I think threatens our ability to have those meaningful discussions moving forward. It's 9:43. I'm Tracy Johnson in for Steve Scaffidi right here on WTMJ.
This is the Steve Scaffidi Show on WTMJ.
Advent founder Dr. Madan Kandula.
If you were formerly breathing properly and we just plugged your nose up, you're not going to like it. You're not going to like it for a few minutes. You're not going to like it for an hour. You wouldn't stand it for a day. If we're talking weeks, you're going to be clawing at the walls to get that thing off. And if we're talking months to years to decades, many of our patients are basically walking around with clothespins on their nose and they don't know any difference. They've never experienced what life is supposed to be like when you breathe properly, and so for them, they feel like it's normal. It should be no surprise that many of the folks that we treat have downstream conditions. So if somebody's nose isn't working properly, if somebody's throat isn't working properly, they're not breathing properly. And when you don't breathe properly, it creates problems for your body.
When you breathe well, you live better. Go to adventknows.com to schedule your appointment today.
Breathe well with simple solutions. AdventKnows.com.
RJ Schinner has several Toshiba copier printers from James Imaging Systems. IT manager Gabe Colasari.
The reason why for James Imaging is their responsiveness, dedication, knowledge of the product, and they always make sure that the customer is taken care of.
The kind of customer service you'd expect from a 100% Wisconsin-owned and managed office technology company like James Imaging Systems.
We actually have a high-end printing machine on site, so we produce our own catalogs, so we need the support to handle that.
James Imaging Systems, better document imaging technology, better service.
When we've got a problem, we're able to call in and get it rectified or corrected without any issues.
Gabe, any advice to other local businesses?
Contact James. I mean, they'll take care of you.
James Imaging Systems, reliable document imaging technology, extraordinary local service. Call 262-781-7700 or visit jamesimaging.com. James Imaging Systems, your local office technology partner.
Selling a home is stressful, difficult, and costly. The repairs, the showings, the months it takes. But there's an easier way, and you have nothing to lose to try it out. Grandview Homes will buy your home today completely as is. Call or visit grandviewhomes.com.
One of the main things we hear from employers is how hard it is to find and retain the best employees. There are job openings and opportunities, but not enough qualified people to fill those roles. How is your organization tackling these challenging issues? At Ansay & Associates, we are a top 60 agency nationally that partners with Wisconsin-based organizations. As a leading employee benefits agency, we help employers proactively design and implement industry-leading benefits programs. We help you become a destination employer that stands out in a crowded field. We realize that benefits costs are increasing, so regardless of your business size, Ansay & Associates is here to help you identify what's driving up your costs, implement creative solutions, and shop to find the most competitive offering in your market. Visit ansay.com today and get a free consultation with one of our strategists, or come see us in person at any of our local offices. Ansay & Associates, securing and protecting your American dream.
Now, more of the Steve Scaffidi Show on WTMJ.
Welcome back on WTMJ. Well, we finally have the dates and the location for the first RNC debate, Republican National Convention. as we are very well aware, will be happening in Milwaukee in July of 2024. So that is going to be a huge, huge event. All eyes will be on Milwaukee. But before that convention actually comes to town, we will have another opportunity to be in the spotlight as a city. So that's August 23rd at the Fiserv Forum. We will have the Republican candidates for president on the stage, hopefully having substantive discussion about the path forward. So the criteria for being part of this first debate, and they're actually saying that there might be 2 debates for the Republican nominee candidate for president, but they haven't announced the site for possibly that second debate. The criteria for Milwaukee, though, is having 200 plus donors in at least 20 states and at least 40,000 national contributors and poll consistently above 1% in 3 national polls or 2 national polls and 1 state poll. You got all that? But here's the kicker one. And I don't know that this would be as big of an issue in any other year, but the other pledge or the other criteria for being part of the first RNC debate is that participants must agree to pledge support to the Republican presidential nominee, whoever that may be. So many will meet this criteria, many will not. I think we have 11 potential candidates, 11 candidates who have put their hat in the ring. The mayor of Miami just put his hat in the ring. But 2, notably, Asa Hutchinson and Chris Christie are already balking. And these 2 candidates are most likely going to meet every criteria in terms of fundraising and polling and such. But they are saying that they don't want to pledge the support to the candidate, whoever that may be. And the reason is, as we all know, is that it will likely be, or many are suggesting that it will be, Donald Trump. And, you know, I think it's an interesting talking point. It'll be interesting to see how this plays out. And of course, you know, they can say, yeah, I'll pledge. And then at the end, they can not. I don't know. I don't know if these folks break off into another party. And it got me thinking about that debate stage and like, do I hope that Trump will be on that stage or not? Because he said, you know, I don't need to. I'm in the lead by so far. I don't need to be on that stage. And I think whether he's going to be on that stage or not, he's going to continue to drive the headlines. And what's disappointing to me about that, and I think should be disappointing to anyone, whether you support President Trump, former President Trump or not, is that those headlines, good, bad, or whatever, are taking away from the opportunity to learn about the other candidates. And I feel like we're spending a lot of time looking backwards instead of looking forward. And in a debate, I think that's the place that you can kind of hash that out. I think conservatives are going to be watching, and I think that Democrats are going to be watching. They're going to be watching all of this because I think on either side, the presumptive nominees, whether it's President Trump and President Biden, people are they're just not excited about. They're unenthused. And so how do we create a path forward? How do we create more opportunity for information to have candidates with solid ideas able to present them and juxtapose those ideas with one another, even within the parties? And so, you know, as I look at this opportunity, August 23rd at the Fiserv Forum, I'm hoping that whoever the makeup of those candidates will be, that it's a productive and forward-looking conversation. And I haven't decided yet if I think Trump on that stage is a good thing or a bad thing. I don't know. What do you think? 855-616-1620 on the Old National Bank talk and text line. You know, do you want to see former President Trump on that stage? Because he's already met that criteria. Although I'm not sure if he's pledged to support whoever that candidate may be, because I think he knows that he's in the lead. So do you want to see him on that debate stage here in Milwaukee? Or does this just basically put the debate, the whole event of a debate, does it put it on a second tier? You know, does President Trump, former President Trump, does he do his own Twitter live or Truth Social live during that exact time? That seems like something that he might do. So I don't know. Do you want to see him on stage here in August? 855-616-1620 on the Old National Bank talk and text line. It's 9:53. I'm Tracy Johnson in for Steve Scaffidi.
This is the Steve Scaffidi Show on WTMJ.
Hey, WTMJ's John Mercure here. Join me every Saturday at noon for Experience Wisconsin, where we check in with communities across the state for the best and brightest spots around our great state. This week, some great guests. We're joined by Kenosha's Meredith Jamisco and Maggie Marconi from the Wisconsin Historical Society.
And the sites are located all across the state, so you don't have to drive very far to have an opportunity to visit one of our sites.
Plus, always a chat with Ann Sayers, the travel secretary. It's Experience Wisconsin, Saturday at noon, right here on 620 WTMJ.
Rose Gray here from Fox World Travel. I'm often asked, when is the best time to book all-inclusive winter getaways? Well, my friends, it is in summer. Do yourself a favor and get your vacation on the calendar now. And guess what? This July, Fox World Travel is once again partnering with Apple Vacations for the nation's largest exclusive early booking sale. We'll have exclusive resort deals you won't find anywhere else and the nonstop flights to get you to Mexico and the Caribbean. Our expert advisors save you time. The sale saves you money. Plus the best price guarantee and cancel for any reason insurance. Why not check the box and get your vacation on the calendar? Call a travel advisor now to get on the list before the sale starts. In anticipation of our upcoming sale, Fox World Travel and Apple Vacations are giving away a trip for two to Dreams Riviera Cancun Resort and Spa. Boy, is it incredible. Visit foxworldtravel.com and enter for a chance to win by June 30th. Visit foxworldtravel.com. Good luck.
Ask your advisor, are you 100% fee only for 100% of your clients 100% of the time? If they answer no, get a second opinion.
Financial strategies, what's the way to build your wealth?
FinancialStrategiesInc.com.
If you're like me, you always like to add a little something new to the wardrobe. But when money's tight, it makes it harder. And that's why you shop at St. Vincent de Paul for a terrific selection of women's clothing at thrift store prices. Brand names, too, with a selection that's always up to date and looking great. You're going to find something cute at the right price, and you're going to love it. St. Vincent de Paul thrift stores on Highway 100 in Layton and Greenfield, and 23rd and Lincoln in Milwaukee.
Ooh, you're going to love it. St. Vincent de Paul.
Trees on the Move, offering ideas for outdoor living and beautifying yards with landscape consultation, design, and installation, including retaining walls, paver patios, tree trimming, and more. Trees on the Move has been offering landscape services for over 43 years, and now offering stamped and colored concrete drives, patios, and sidewalks. Beautify your yard this year with Trees on the Move. TreesOnTheMove.com.
Planning to planting, Trees on the Move.
WTMJ, W277CV, and WKTI HD2 Milwaukee from the Annex Wealth Management Studios. This is News Radio WTMJ, a Good Karma brand station. Now, more of the Steve Scaffidi Show.
Welcome back on WTMJ. Just announced was the date and location for the first RNC debate, August 23rd, at the Fiserv Forum. And I am wondering here, do we want to see the current leader, former President Trump, on that debate stage? Does he improve this discussion or not? Mike in Sheboygan, you're on WTMJ.
Hi. Well, I mean, based on who's on stage or whatever, it's who's asking the questions and, how they want to pose the question. So if you're basing your sole decision on a debate, no matter where it is, and no matter who's on stage, you're doing yourself a disservice by not doing research on whatever party you want to do that at. So
I think
that's my theory. Yeah, whoever the leading candidate is at the time, yeah, they should be on the debate stage. That's why you have them. But on the other hand, if you're making a decision on that, you're doing yourself a disservice.
I completely agree, Mike. But here's one thing that, a Trump on stage is going to dominate, right? He is going to be bombastic. He's going to trump the stage. And does that then take away from the opportunity to hear from others that might want to talk about policy or a path forward? So I agree that because he meets the criteria, he should be there, but it's probably likely he's not going to be there.
Well, then that's his choice, and that's the people that are supporting him's choice if they still want to vote for him. So,
Mike, thanks for the call. I think, there's a lot of feedback here. I think that for the most part, the Trump supporters are the Trump supporters. He's not going to make the tent any bigger by being on the stage. Probably not going to make the tent bigger by not being on the stage. But whatever the case, Milwaukee is going to be in the spotlight for the next year when it comes to presidential politics, when it comes to the RNC, when it comes to all of these issues tied to election, tied to crime, tied to policy. We have this opportunity, and we have the opportunity to leverage it. So we'll see. I'm not sure what the deadline is for them to announce, but August 23rd isn't as far away as it may seem. After the news, we've got a great topic that I think will hit many people. It has to do with employees who are trying to protect their workplaces, and they're getting fired left and right. Is this the right path for these employers? We'll discuss after the news. It's 9:59. I'm Tracy Johnson on WTMJ.
You're listening to the Steve Scaffidi Show on WTMJ.
Your first night camping alone. The new tent, fully set up. Your bug spray, barely keeping up. But you got this. Just like Associated Bank's got you with free overdraft protection transfers. So when you bought all those supplies and lost track of your spending, we had you covered. You got this with free overdraft protection transfers from Associated Bank. See associatedbank.com/checking or ask a banker for details. Member FDIC.
Siding Unlimited, named the best window installers, not just here, but in the whole USA. Get the best. Siding Unlimited, 3-time winner as America's best window installer. For windows, you call Siding Unlimited. First and directly, sidingunlimited.com.
Since 1964, we've changed your tires and so much more. Richland's Tire and Service, such a refreshing change. Richland's.
Heard it work? Contact Tayback for the payback. Go to TaybackAttorneys.com.
Keeping you informed, keeping you safe, keeping you engaged and entertained. We are Wisconsin's radio station. News Radio 620 WTMJ, Milwaukee.
At 10 o'clock, 73 degrees. Going to be a nice one today. Warm, sunny, a high of 87 inland. You have an air quality advisory in place through tomorrow night. From the WTMJ Breaking News Center, I'm Eric Bilstead. And because today's so nice, it's also the start of Summerfest. The big gig kicks off in just a couple of hours. Summerfest returning to the lakefront for the 55th edition of the festival. CEO Sarah Pancari speaking with WTMJ Sandy Max ahead of the festival. Pancari says Summerfest is the crown jewel of a lakefront that's no stranger to festivals.
For us, it's a season. Summerfest, of course, is the pinnacle for us as an organization, but it really is the season, and that's why we hire 2,000 people, and that's why we bring all these vendors in. So it's the story of Milwaukee World Festival that is continuing to evolve, and it's facing a really dynamic future given how much we love events in Milwaukee.
The gates open at noon. Much more throughout the day. We'll begin our broadcasting from the festival grounds beginning at noon through Wisconsin's afternoon news as well. The future funding mechanism for American Family Field remains up in the air today. Assembly Speaker Robin Vos now says it's unlikely a bill that would provide funding for upkeep at AmFam Field would be voted on before July 4th. Voss says the negotiation, though, continues.
Like we have with every significant investment, if it was, a company coming to a region of the state, we're trying to retain them. There's always a local effort, too. So I think one of the core principles for us is to ensure that, yes, the state is a partner, but we have local partners actively involved as well, helping to pay for something that has a direct financial benefit for them.
You may recall earlier this year, Governor Evers proposed using money from the state's surplus, $290 million, to help fund the stadium maintenance. That idea was shot down. The clock's still ticking as rescuers try desperately to reach a submersible in the North Atlantic near the crash of Titanic.
The latest assistance to arrive comes in the form of a French research ship equipped with an unmanned robot capable of searching deep underwater. One expert says it's the main hope for an underwater rescue. It has strong lights to help it see through the murk at those depths. With 2 manipulator arms, it could untangle the submersible or attach a device that could float it to the surface. But rescuers would need to know fairly precisely where to look for the submersible, and so far that is not the case.
Time has likely run out for those on board, running out of oxygen. If it happened to have floated to the top of the surface like they thought it may have, the submersible, it would still be very difficult to find at this time because the conditions above water have been very treacherous overnight and into today. Sports, traffic, and weather next. Siding Unlimited, WTMJ News Time, 10:03.
Welcome back to Ask Hasselus. I'm Weston. What's your question?
Yeah, that's who you say you are, but who are you really?
Weston.
I don't believe you. I also don't believe that Hasselus Mattress showrooms have no employees. How is that even possible?
Come see for yourself. You can test out our mattresses without any salespeople breathing down your neck.
Sure, buddy, whatever you say.
That's how we're able to keep our prices way low. Our 34 beds from the top 5 brands start at $393. Free next day delivery, too.
I'm not buying it.
Well, if you are buying a new Beauty Rest or Sealy Posturepedic mattress between now and Monday, we'll take an additional $200 off the already rock bottom price.
So you're telling me all of this is true?
Yes.
Promise?
Promise.
Pinky?
Pinky.
Wow, you are serious.
Trade in your old mattress and save an additional $200 off a new Sealy Posturepedic or Beauty Rest mattress through Monday at Hasselus. Find an employee-free showroom near you or at hasselus.com.
Headlines, texts, emails, the TV, the computer, the phone, even your smartwatch, every day. Market volatility can lead to anxiety and planning paralysis. No surprise, Americans report being stressed about their investment and retirement plans. Turn down the media roar. Dial up the planning. Put Annex Wealth Management on your side for investment and retirement guidance that includes tax and estate planning. Head to AnnexWealth.com. Click the Get Started button. Know the difference with a fee-only fiduciary. That's Annex Wealth Management.
Hey, Fleet Farm fans, you asked, we listened. You wanted lower prices? You got them. In-store, online. We drop prices everywhere. Lower prices on summer favorites like Liquid Pool Shock, Griller's Gold Barbecue Pellets, and Airhead Towables. Lower prices on big name pet care like Purina Tidy Cats. Lower prices on Valvoline motor oils. All because you said so. Look for the bright green price drop signs to find new lower prices on everything you need for everyday life. Only at Fleet Farm.
The NBA draft will take center stage tonight for the league. Milwaukee just owning one selection, number 58 overall. As far as players that are currently on the roster, though, Bucks 3-time All-Star Chris Middleton has officially declined his $40 million player option with the team. He is all set to become a free agent. And according to ESPN's Adrian Wojnarowski, the Boston Celtics, Washington Wizards, and Memphis Grizzlies all agreed to a 3-team trade late Wednesday night that sent center Kristaps Porzingis to the Celtics, guard Marcus Smart to the Grizzlies, and guard Tyus Jones over to the Wizards. Over to baseball, where the Brewers only mustered 3 hits and scored just a single run as they fell to the Arizona Diamondbacks Wednesday afternoon by a final score of 5-1. The Brewers will now set their sails on a 10-game road trip that begins with Cleveland on Friday night. I'm Brandon Snide, WTMJ Sports.
Johnson & Sons paving time saver traffic. Some slow spots we're seeing today because of the construction and whatnot. 94 eastbound is slow coming out of the Zoo interchange right now, heading toward the city because of road work being done. So you see barrels coming up in that stretch. Because of it, you're losing a couple of lanes there. So there's a little bit of a bottleneck there before you get to the stadium interchange. So be prepared for that right as you get out of the Zoo interchange. In fact, we are seeing some delays past State Fair Park there because of that. So be mindful of that heading in. You're going to be on the brake lights there. 43 southbound Brown Deer Road into downtown. Right now at the moment is okay. Maybe a 13, 14-minute ride in both directions. between the Marquette Interchange and Brown Deer Road because of road work in that stretch. So a couple extra minutes, but otherwise it's looking okay.
Traffic is sponsored by the famous Fox and Hounds restaurant near Holy Hill.
The successful Fox and Hounds and Mineshaft restaurants are hiring friendly, people-oriented servers. You'll make real cash, full or part-time, and always busy. Inquire today, start next week.
WTMJ 5-day forecast. Sunny and warm, a high of 87. Tonight, partly cloudy, a low of 58. For Friday, sunny and a high near 90. Saturday, a little bit more humid, a high of 90. Sunday, warm and humid, a high of 82. Monday, chance for showers and cloudy, a high of 75 degrees. Right now in Madison, it's 79. Green Bay, 78. Waukesha, 76. And in Milwaukee, 73 degrees. I'm Eric Bilstead. Siding Unlimited, WTMJ News Time, 10:07.
Breaking down the biggest stories. Talking about what truly matters.
Sometimes I'll start a sentence, and I don't even know where it's going. I just hope I find it along the way. Like an improv conversation.
And letting your voice be heard.
Hello. Political poll. I never have before, but go ahead, shoot. I don't know. I don't even know what that means.
Live from the Annex Wealth Management Studios at the Avenue.
It's showtime, everybody! Showtime!
Hey, people, it's showtime!
All right, everybody, it's showtime.
All right, everybody, it's showtime!
Now take your position. It's showtime.
Now in for Steve, here's your host, Tracy Johnson.
Welcome back to this Thursday morning. It's 10:08 on WTMJ. I'm Tracy Johnson. In for Steve Scaffidi until noon today. This time just flies when you're having fun. And I appreciate all the input, all the questions. 855-616-1620. I'm going to try to respond if they are actual questions that I can answer, whether it's about budget issues or Brewers funding. I will let you know what I know. I will also share it on the airwaves if it makes sense and it's in a timely fashion. So we had asked the question about the RNC debates, which will be happening here in August in just a few weeks. This is like 7 weeks away. August 23rd at the Pfizer Forum, you are going to have the top contenders for president right here on stage at the Pfizer Forum. And all eyes across the world, across the country, will be on Milwaukee. Brett Baer is set to moderate. He's with Fox News. This will be televised on Fox News. I'm sure there will be other streaming services carrying this. But every news outlet will be covering this. They will be covering it for what's in the debates, who's on the stage, what they were wearing, what they look like, and then what they didn't say. And the question I had posed is, do you want to see former President Trump on the stage? He is going to meet all the criteria to be there. And it's overwhelming, the feedback on both sides, really, to say, yeah, he should be there. He is the candidate that's going to be the Republican nominee, and his supporters want to see him there. He should be there to say his side. And others are saying, you know what, I want to talk about a path forward, because they have seen for the months and months and months since he left office that there has been a lot of talk in the rearview mirror. And they want to hear from some of these more inspiring candidates, whether it's Tim Scott or Nikki Haley, or whether it's Ron DeSantis, or even Asa Hutchinson or Chris Christie. I mean, let's get some new voices. We only have so much airtime. We only have so many headlines to talk about this. And if we have every headline taken up with former President Trump, we miss that opportunity. And I think that can be said for the Republican side, and it can be said for the Democrat side too. There is huge dissatisfaction with the sitting president. There's this mistrust in the establishment, and I don't think that's a new phenomenon. But I think on every side, people want to hear about the future. And so we need to be open to these discussions. And there has even been talk about third-party candidates. Heck, the other day, Joe Manchin was thrown about, which I think is very interesting. Brandon, we were talking about fun facts. But Joe Manchin, who is a very moderate Democrat from West Virginia, when I was overseas, I was in Paris. Guess who I ran into?
Joe
Manchin.
Look at you out in Paris, huh?
It was the most insane thing.
What are the odds of that? That's pretty incredible.
0%. My father-in-law actually reckoned he was at the breakfast buffet. I mean, we were not at a Motel 6. I mean, we were at a nice place having a breakfast buffet, but my father-in-law's like, "Is that Joe Manchin?" And he went up to him. And he's a tall dude. He's a tall guy. My Joe Manchin, not my father-in-law. But and he said, "Hey, Joe." And he was like, "Hey, what? Hey." And
he was polite, though, I assume.
Oh,
Joe.
my gosh. He came over to our table, and I was with my whole family. He came over to the table, and he said hello to everyone. So polite. That's cool. He was out there for the air show. There's an air show in Paris. So anyway, that was a total digression. But when I saw the headline about third-party candidate Joe Manchin, but people are looking for an alternative, right? They're looking for maybe not necessarily an alternative, but a way to talk about something moving forward. So let's see if the RNC debate right here in Milwaukee is that opportunity to talk about the future. So, all right, switching gears. Can you imagine walking into a store and just grabbing anything you wanted? Going into a Nordstrom and pulling out a whole rack of sport coats, or a Foot Locker and grabbing a bunch of sneakers, or a grocery store and grabbing a bunch of food and just walking out. Well, this is happening, and it's not breaking news that this is happening all over. And I think you're going to see even more and more of this as corporations are now boldly and publicly firing employees who dare to protect their employer's merchandise from thieves and robbers. And I worked in retail much of my life, and so I have very strong opinion about this. It wasn't an issue when I was, 20 years ago when I was working in retail, but to see it happening more and more is very disheartening. It's scary. Well, in 2020, Marianne Marino, she's a 75-year-old who worked at a Circle K for 18 years. Could you imagine working at a Circle K for 18 years? A knife-wielding man came in and asked for cigarettes for free, and he had a knife. And this woman, Marianne Marino, said no. And the man came behind the counter, grabbed the cigarettes, and this is all on video. And Mary, she's a 75-year-old woman, put up her arms and tried to stop him. I mean, you can envision this, right? And this man who came and stole the cigarettes was, a young man. I'm sure you can envision this. Nobody was injured, and the guy just walked out. But this woman, loyal 18-year employee, was fired. The CEO said that she defied the don't confront and chase policy. Well, now, as of this week, Marianne has filed a lawsuit. The lawsuit is on the heels of another incident that just took my breath away because it is a video. There was an incident in Georgia that's widely documented. It's viral, where there are two masked men who went into a Lululemon store and just took everything. They actually took things, went out to their car, put all the stuff in their car, then came back in and took more. And this is on camera. And you can see the employees, these young women who are working at this store, protecting the merchandise, saying, no, go, no, not today, go, leave. These thieves went in and out multiple times. And you can see on the video, they are masked, they are covered. Did they have a gun? I don't know. They didn't threaten. But and for all I know, these employees may have known these fellows. Then they called the police. And guess what happened? The Lululemon CEO fired the employees, saying that they were not supposed to confront or chase the people that were stealing the merchandise. And in both cases, and in many cases, the CEOs are saying it's for the protection of the employees. But should these employees have been fired? Our number is 855-616-1620. That's the Old National Bank and talk and text line. I contest that this policy is unjust, unfair, and actually makes working at these retail establishments less safe for the employees. It makes it less safe for the employees. I get that these CEOs have to cover their backsides with insurance by saying, we tell our employees not to chase or confront. It's for their protection. It's for everyone's protection, and it's for our insurance. But I think it emboldens these thieves who have no morals in the first place. And they know that they're not going to be stopped. They're not going to be confronted. They're not going to be affronted. And in the case of Lululemon, I suggest that they were celebrated. They won. They won. They were defended by the CEO. I'm not sure if these men were captured. That's not the issue. But should these employees have been fired? And you're going to see more and more and more and more of this. This is creating more danger for retail employees and for the people who are shopping. Our number, if you want to weigh in, should these employees have been fired? 855-616-1620. We'll discuss when we come back after the break.
You're listening to the Steve Scaffidi Show on WTMJ. Milwaukee Brewers reporter Sophia Minert.
They're going to have a lot to play for here, and we're optimistic.
The closest to the dugout you'll ever get.
Craig always encourages these guys to just be who you are, right? Like, we just want you to be who you are.
Every Monday on Wisconsin's Morning News at 7:45.
It says that your call sign should be owl.
I'm a little underwhelmed.
This is Brewers 360, presented by Holiday Automotive and Outdoor Living Unlimited.
Hey, this is Steve Scaffidi for Advent. I had some snoring issues that kept my wife up at night. That led to poor sleep and a lot of tired mornings on the radio, and nobody wants that, trust me. But it's simply, my nose wasn't working the way it should. I decided to go to Advent for a quick 30-minute visit, one of their great facilities, talk to a bunch of their doctors. They really put me at ease. After a really simple sleep study at home, in my own bed, they determined the root cause of my problem had to do with my sinuses and nasal passages in my breathing triangle. I didn't even know I had a breathing triangle, so I went to see Advent. After a short procedure done in office, I'm back to breathing well, and my wife and I are both back to sleeping through the whole night. The best sleep we've ever had, that could be you. If you struggle with restless nights like I did, take the time to see how Advent can help. To find out how breathing well and sleeping well can make your life and your nights a whole lot better, go to AdventKnows.com, schedule an appointment today. Because Advent knows, when you breathe well, you live better.
Since 1946, Ansay & Associates has provided insurance to help secure businesses throughout Wisconsin. As a family-owned, independent agency, customer satisfaction is our first and foremost priority. Our approach is relationship-driven and solutions-oriented to your individual needs and risk management for each customer. As one of Wisconsin's top 10 insurance agencies and among the top 5% of agents nationwide, Ansay & Associates can provide all of your insurance needs, from business, commercial to employee benefits. Ansay & Associates is more than insurance. Ansay & Associates is your business solutions partner. Visit ansay.com today and get a free consultation with one of our strategists. Or come see us in person at any of our local offices. Ansay & Associates, securing and protecting your American dream.
Now, more of the Steve Scaffidi Show on WTMJ.
Welcome back on WTMJ. Should employees be fired for trying to protect their employer's merchandise when thieves come in and take all the goods? Well, there were two recent incidences. One at Lululemon in Atlanta, where these robbers, these masked robbers, came in and just went in and out and stole all this merchandise. The employees were fired for telling them to get out and for calling the police, confronting them. Another woman in Colorado was fired because she tried to stop a man from taking cigarettes, physically getting in her space to take cigarettes from the employer. Both were fired because these companies have don't chase or confront policies. I contend that this makes our retail environment less safe. But should these employees have been fired? Bob in Waukesha, you're on WTMJ.
Good morning, Tracy.
Good morning.
Yeah, I disagree. I have to tell you, if employers in every instance fire employees who violate policy, then I'm on board. Now, this policy pretty much defies common sense.
Sure.
But the administrators of these companies also have to consider that we live in a litigious society. If an employee is hurt, even if they violate the policy, they're going to turn around and they're going to sue the company. They're not going to sue the bad guy, the desperado. And the desperado, if he's hurt or she is hurt, they're going to sue the company. So it's really a no-win, and it defies common sense. But there's little common sense in the 21st century.
Yeah. So, Bob, what would you say if in part of the policy that was the don't confront and don't chase, instead of saying that the employee would be fired if they violate the policy, that they would be reprimanded or fined? Why are they firing people? I think it creates more chaos and more attention to how disparate the treatment actually is.
You may be right, Tracy. I was in law enforcement for 29 years, and they're worried certainly about employees, but they're worried about the liability. Century.
Bob, I think we lost you. I think Bob made a couple of good points, but at the end of the day, there needs to be some sort of substantive solution. And I think that if we continue to have all of these documented robberies, and you can't go through your social media feed without catching a video of people just descending onto a retailer, whether it's a high-end retailer or a grocery store, and just stealing stuff. But when an employee, has that reaction, and some people, that's their reaction, is to jump into fight mode. They're being penalized by losing their job. And again, I get that this is an insurance consideration and these CEOs are trying to protect their backsides. Even one texter made mention that the police tell you not to chase. But sometimes, if you have that fight or flight and you do make some sort of movement or action, why are we taking such harsh penalty on the employees who are just trying to protect their employers? Is there a better way that the CEOs can invest in ways to protect not only their people, but their merchandise? And you go into some stores, you go into some, high-end stores, even middle-end stores, and there's a security guard there. Now, do we want to be saying that you need a security guard at every one of these retailers? Well, maybe it's less expensive, and maybe in the long run, this could be a better solution than just allowing these people to come into these retailers and affect these employees. Think about it. And I think about this. My kids are, 10 and 12. They're not of age where they're going to get a job, but their first job is likely going to be in retail. Do I want to be putting these kids, these people in a position where they are likely going to be confronted with a burglary, a robbery? And often these people are, on drugs. They have a knife. They might have a gun. And whether you confront them or not, these people are not right. They have no morals. They have no moral compass. And they do not care what happens to them. And so we're creating this culture that it's okay. It emboldens thieves. And I think that these businesses come up with a coalition to try to fight this. Try to come up with solutions, because I think what they're doing is just making the problem worse. It's 10:26. I'm Tracy Johnson, in for Steve Scaffidi here on WTMJ.
You're listening to the Steve Scaffidi Show on WTMJ.
Hi, it's Brian Noonan from WTMJ Nights. I've got some big news. Starting now, you can download WTMJ Nights wherever you get your podcasts. That's right, you can enjoy our nighttime fun anytime you want. Find WTMJ Nights on Apple, Spotify, wherever you get your podcasts. Local news, national stories, random silliness. You'll get a bit of everything on WTMJ Nights. So join me, Brian Noonan, weeknights from 6 to 9 here on WTMJ, the WTMJ mobile app, or wherever you get your podcasts. WTMJ Nights. Listen whenever and wherever you want.
Wisconsin weather can put a damper on things, but don't let it ruin your outdoor plans. Sister Bay Furniture is furniture built in Wisconsin for Wisconsin. Built from premium, sustainable materials, Sister Bay Furniture endures the grueling conditions of Wisconsin weather. That's commercial-grade quality for your outdoor space. Stop by their showroom today, located out in Sussex on Executive Drive, or visit their website today at sisterbayfurniture.com. Sister Bay Furniture, built in Wisconsin for Wisconsin.
An official message from Medicare. Don't let preventable diseases stop you from doing the things you love. Medicare Part D now covers all recommended vaccines, like tetanus and shingles, at no cost to you. That means you don't have to stop whipping up your favorite recipes or dusting off your guitar to show that rock stars never get old. Talk to your doctor about which vaccines are right for you so you can keep doing the things you love. Paid for by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services.
AccuNet Mortgage is an equal housing lender. NMLS ID 255368.
Winning isn't everything, it's the only thing. I always thought Vince Lombardi came up with that famous sports nugget, but it turns out he borrowed it from a college coach. And now I'm going to borrow it too, because when there are 10 or 20 offers on a property, there's only one winner. In today's inventory-starved real estate market, you need a Lombardi-level mortgage coach, one who has all the best plays in the playbook. Going with your bank for your pre-approval is like playing in a professional playoff game with the JV coach at the helm. The Lombardi-level coaches at AccuNet are called senior loan consultants, and each one has been trained by me to help you and your real estate agent work as one team to deliver the one and only thing that matters: winning. So if you've been losing with your flimsy bank pre-approval, trade up today to a rock-solid guaranteed pre-approval and a Lombardi-level game plan. And if you're just getting started, why not start with the best? Click on the blue button today and get started with your winning game plan at accunet.com.
Now, more of the Steve Scaffidi Show on WTMJ.
All right, welcome back on WTMJ. We've struck a chord here, and here's the deal, guys. You've got some good ideas and some good input. We are going to take this segment after the news. Steve from Neenah, I hope that you'll hang on, because I think your point is a good one. Looking at solutions for some of, this chaos that's ensuing in retail, which post-pandemic, this is a tough segment that we've been talking about for years and years and years. But right now it is 10:30, and from the Breaking News Center, here's Wyatt Barmarpuli.
Thank you. Time has likely run out for the 5 people who've been trapped in a submersible vessel that was trying to dive to see the wreckage of the Titanic 2.5 miles underwater. Crews from the U.S. and other nations still working around the clock to try to locate the vessel. So far, nothing definitive has turned up. Passengers now have likely ran out of their oxygen supply, which was supposed to last for 96 hours. A jogger who was hit by a car while running along South KK Avenue has died from his injuries. Gerard Jaszewski of Milwaukee was hit last week while he was jogging along KK and Morgan in St. Francis. The driver did remain at the scene but could still face charges. And a future funding mechanism for American Family Field still up in the air. Assembly Speaker Robin Vos saying it's unlikely that a bill that would provide that funding for upkeep of AmFam Field, that is unlikely to be voted on before July 4th. Vos says negotiations are ongoing. Earlier this year, Governor Evers proposed using $290 million in state surplus dollars to help fund the stadium maintenance. Brewers president of business operations, he says that the team is going to continue to work with people on both sides of the aisle to find a solution that works for all parties to keep the stadium in good shape and the Brewers in Milwaukee. Time for news about your money, the WTMJ Annex Wealth Management Market Update. And the NASDAQ is the only one in the green right now. They are up. It is up 42 points. The S&P 500 is down, but just a little over 1.5 points. And the Dow also down just a little bit, only down 48. Get on track with investment and retirement planning. Visit annexwealth.com and click the Get Started button today. Take a look at your roads. It is your Johnson & Sons paving time saver traffic, and it looks like we've got everything's looking pretty all right. No major slowdowns right now, it looks like. There's a disabled vehicle on 4194 North at College Avenue, that one off on the right shoulder. And then there is a little bit of a slowdown on 94 eastbound from the zoo to downtown. That'll be a 12-minute ride, a 6-minute delay. Everything else, though, looking good.
Traffic is sponsored by the amazing Mineshaft Restaurant in downtown Hartford.
The successful Mineshaft Restaurant in Hartford is hiring an experienced bar manager with income upwards of $60,000 a year and always busy. Inquire today, start next week.
Time for the WTMJ 5-day forecast. Sunny skies and warm today. A high of 83 at the lake, 87 degrees inland. Perfect weather for the start of Summerfest. Tonight, partly cloudy, a low of 62 at the lake, inland 58. Tomorrow's going to be mostly sunny. Another day in the 80s, a high of 83 at the lake, near 90 degrees inland. Saturday, increasing clouds, warm, and it'll be a little bit more humid, a high of 85. Sunday, chance of showers and storms. It'll be cloudy skies, warm and humid, a high of 82. And Monday, chance of showers, mostly cloudy, a high of 75 degrees. Right now in downtown Milwaukee, it is 74 degrees. I'm Wyatt Barmore-Pooley. Sighting Unlimited, WTMJ News Time is 10:33.
Lane's Farm and Fleet's 4th of July sale is going on now. We're saluting the red, white, and blue with unbeatable deals on everything you need to celebrate outdoors. Like all in-stock sturdy wall above ground pools, 25% off. Rewards members save 20% on select Sport Dog remote dog trainers. 36-pound bags of estate weed and feed, $34.99. And assorted colors of folding camp chairs, just $11.99. Rewards members save an extra $2.
Find value at Lane's Farm and Fleet.
Listen, joint pain is a thief. No two ways about it.
That's football legend Emmitt Smith, who knows a thing or two about pain.
It steals your joy, your time with family, or doing things you love. It can even steal your livelihood. But QC Kinetics can help put a stop to that.
Don't hand everything over to pain. QC Kinetics is the nation's leader in regenerative medicine, a cutting-edge technology that helps relieve pain in your knees, hips, shoulders, and back using healing properties directly from your own body.
It's easy. Get treated in the office and walk right out afterward.
Simple, right? And QC Kinetics' remarkable all-natural treatments deliver long-lasting relief without surgery or long recovery times.
Don't let soreness or achiness rob you of doing the things you love. Tell that pain, not today, not ever. You've got QC Kinetics on your side.
Call QC Kinetics, 414-285-3474. That's 414-285-3474. 414-285-3474.
Experience fast, affordable family fun at Elkhart Lakes Road America. With on-site camping, free parking, and free admission for kids 16 and younger when accompanied with an adult, Road America offers world-class racing and so much more. From sports cars to NASCARs, you can even host your next company picnic or family reunion. Get the full race schedule at roadamerica.com. That's roadamerica.com or call 800-365-7223. Road America, America's National Park of Speed. This is the Steve Scaffidi Show on WTMJ.
Don't need money, don't take fame, don't need no credit card to ride this train. It's strong and it's sudden and it's cruel sometimes, but it might just save your life. That's the power of love.
All right, welcome back. 10:36 almost on WTMJ. We have had just some great input on this whole topic of these employees that are getting fired for trying to protect their employers and merchandise and confronting thieves. You know, as they're just trucking out merchandise from their stores. So is this right? Or is there another solution? Because as it stands right now, I think it is perpetuating the crime. Steve and Nina, thanks for hanging on. You're on WTMJ.
Hey, Tracy, how are you this morning?
Great. What do you think?
Well, it's funny because, I worked in retail back in the early 90s, and, back then it was like, yeah, chase them down if you can get them, great, But at the same time, now that, older and wiser, looking at the current situation, and I heard these stories a couple weeks ago when they happened, or the Lululemon.
Mm-hmm.
But I was just listening this morning, I was like, I'm wondering potentially if, the employers might be worried about losing, liability insurance because, they're not fulfilling their policy. And, I agree. I mean, chase them down, get them, fight for your stuff. I mean, that's awesome. But I'm wondering if, these, the owners are taking a lot of garbage for it, but at the same time, maybe they've got a lot more to lose.
Yes.
That they can't pay for their insurance if they don't fulfill their policy.
Well, is there an opportunity, Steve, and I asked the same question to Bob, is there an opportunity to have a different penalty than to fire these employees? I mean, they and in some cases, we've seen the discussion around this move towards, what constitutes confrontation. Because in the case of Lululemon, these young women were saying, get out. Yeah. No, not today, get out. And of course, these men are like, yeah, whatever. And I'm just going to go and take all of this stuff. But, it's infuriating that this behavior and the inability of these retail institutions to protect their merchandise makes it more expensive and more dangerous for all of us.
I totally agree. I think there is absolutely something else that can be done instead of, those consequences. I mean, they could use these as educational opportunities for their employees, firsthand experience, whatever it may be, and if this happens, 20 times or something, well, that might be something else, but to just fire them is crazy.
Well,
I mean, it's hard enough these days to fill positions.
Yes,
but I think they could certainly figure out a different solution and not fire these individuals for doing hopefully at your gut instinct of turning away something that's so wrong.
Yeah, Steve, thanks for the call. And I think what you're going to start to see happen more and more, especially after this case out of Colorado where this 75-year-old woman who confronted a young man who was wielding a knife, which I can't even imagine doing. I would probably just melt. But something in her said, I need to try to stop this individual. All right. I don't know what synapses are firing in her brain, but that's what's happening. That's her gut reaction. It's like when you see someone choking, what is your reaction? And so she jumped into action. I mean, if you watch the video, she didn't leap on this guy. She put up her arms and, said, get out. No, you can't have the cigarettes. But she's suing. And I think the outcome of this lawsuit will be very telling. Now, based on what I know about the policy, these CEOs and these companies aren't stupid. They're not going to put a policy that's not enforceable out there. But to bring attention to this fact will hopefully get us to a different solution. Are security guards, armed security guards, is that a better solution? Is that a less expensive solution than trying to pay for the cost of all this lost merchandise? Is this a better solution? Because eventually you're not going to be able to hire people because they're going to be too terrified of coming into work. One of the texters suggested that this is like the no chase policy. Look where that got us. It just breeds more and more and more criminality. Another texter suggested, why is this documented? It breaks her heart that this is documented and shared virally because it simply perpetuates all of this crime. And I agree. I don't know how you stop the social media. That's probably not going to happen. But I don't know what the solution is. It made me think about, from a retail perspective, that perhaps the malls have the upper hand here. And I know we talk about the malls all dying out, but from a security standpoint, they're able to pool those resources and protect the retailers, protect the merchandise, and potentially protect the employees more efficiently and effectively than some of these standalone businesses. Great discussion, great input. When we come back, the NCAA is looking to basically allow weed or not stop people from smoking marijuana. Is this a good idea? We'll discuss when we come back. It's 10:42 on WTMJ.
This is the Steve Scaffidi Show on WTMJ.
Hi, this is John Neal, CPA, founder of Right Choice Tax Resolution and international best-selling author on how to have less stress with the IRS. The IRS is the most ruthless collection agency in the world. They just announced they will be ramping up collection activities now that the COVID crisis is over. They can seize your bank accounts, garnish your wages, and make your life miserable. My book tells you what you can do so you don't have to worry about them ever again. Don't bury your head in the sand and hope the problem will go away. It will only get worse unless you make the right choice and step up to get them off your back. We can help. We help reduce or eliminate penalties, negotiate payment plans, and represent you in tax audits. Make the right choice and go to rightchoicetax.us to book a call or meeting right now. We know you want to take the first step in getting the IRS off your back so you can live again. That's rightchoicetax.us.
Enjoy adventure and relaxation in your new summer ride. It's Ho Chunk Gaming Wisconsin Dells Cruisin' the Dells giveaways, where on June 24th, you'll have a chance to win a brand new GMC Acadia, along with $10,000 in cash and $1,000 in rewards play. Earn entries all month long. And remember, the more you play, the more chances you have to win. It's the Cruisin' the Dells giveaways, June 24th at Ho Chunk Gaming Wisconsin Dells. Must be 21. See Ho Chunk Gaming representative for more details.
A unique blend of jazz and rock vocal music that has been celebrated by generations.
Goes up, must come down.
It's Blood, Sweat, and Tears. Performing live Friday, July 7th, 8 p.m. at Ho Chunk Gaming.
You made me so.
Tickets are on sale now through Ticketmaster.
And when I die,
a renaissance of unbridled talent. It's Blood, Sweat, and Tears. July 7th at Ho Chunk Gaming, Wisconsin Dells.
Must be 21 to attend concert.
Ready to downsize and move from your longtime home? Call Bruce's team today. Their senior real estate specialist will guide you every step of the way. Go from overwhelmed to I can do this. 262-242-6177. Bruce'sTeam.com.
You can host the best backyard barbecue when you find a professional on Angie to make your backyard the best around. Connect with skilled professionals to get all your home projects done well. Inside to outside, repairs to renovations. Get started on the Angie app or visit Angie.com today. You can do this when you Angie that.
Adopt US Kids presents What to Expect When You're Expecting a Teenager. Learning the lingo.
GOAT, G-O-A-T, acronym, stands for Greatest of All Time. As in, spaghetti sandwiches for dinner? They're my fave. Dad, you're the GOAT.
You don't have to speak teen to be a perfect parent. Thousands of teens in foster care will love you just the same. Visit adoptuskids.org. Brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, Adopt U.S. Kids, and the Ad Council.
Now, more of the Steve Scaffidi Show on WTMJ.
All right, about an hour and 15 minutes before the gates of Summerfest officially open for the 55th year of this awesome festival. I forgot they canceled it 1 year. So did they 55, 54, or did they just kind of move on? Brandon, do you know? You don't know.
I'll give you a Google search here real quick.
Okay, all right. Well, let us know when you find that out. But yeah, I think I have a perfect record for the amount of years that I've been alive. It hasn't been 55, but pretty darn close. I know my mom talks about pushing me in the stroller when it was like dirt throughout Summerfest. All right, you've got an answer.
This is straight off the website, Tracy. We're coming to you live off the website.
Awesome.
Summerfest will celebrate its 55th anniversary in 2023.
Okay, but didn't they skip a year? So, like, does that year count? We don't know.
It says on the website this is year 55.
All right. Well, it sounds like I have some homework to do. Maybe I'll tweet that out at some point. So this is a topic that I'm pretty sure requires like 3 hours, but we're going to try to cover it here today. It is actually it was brought up last week, and it has to do with a topic that many people are very passionate about, and that is marijuana. Marijuana usage, I understand, is being very normalized in the United States, and many states have made medical and recreational marijuana usage legal. They've decriminalized the usage of marijuana. Wisconsin is not on that list, but we have heard from Speaker Voss that potentially in the fall, we might be seeing some sort of legislation. So I understand that, and that's not what I'm here to debate. And, I understand that states have legalized marijuana, say that it is for the economic windfall, the economic impact in the form of tax revenue, job growth, and those real estate investment opportunities to grow the weed and the, production and all of that. In 2022, 37 states allowed medical marijuana and 21 states allowed non-medical cannabis for recreational consumption. Now, here's just a side note. Even though it's not legal in Wisconsin, you wouldn't know it. Just walking on the streets or going to a concert or even driving on the freeway. So I get that there's a push to legalize it and capture that potential revenue from the sale of legal marijuana. But this has me scratching my head. The NCAA is saying now that college athletes should no longer be penalized for using marijuana. They're saying that this isn't a performance enhancing substance, which has been one of the rationale for penalizing college athletes and testing for marijuana usage. They're gathering information right now and will have a vote. They will have to actually formally adopt legislation in order to kind of codify this with the NCAA to say we will not penalize or fine or, criminalize this, according to the NCAA, for these college athletes. This would then push the burden, any burden having to do with marijuana or the curbing of marijuana or the education around marijuana, to the individual schools. And so in terms of the governance and structure of the NCAA, they would have to adopt this. I'm assuming that all of the players who would be contributing to this research and the data and the information would be a collaborative of these schools. Now, this is for college athletes. If you recall, just a few years ago, the NBA no longer tested or fined for marijuana usage. And in doing some of the research, I found one player in the NBA who said, hey, like 85% of NBA players use some sort of cannabis or marijuana. And I understand that it's not all, smoked marijuana. It's lots of different ways. But is this the right message for the NCAA to be pushing? That they do not want to test for this anymore. That they would say, listen, it's legal in so many states. We're not going to test for this. Or should they be looking for another way to try to curb this? Because last time I checked, smoking marijuana or ingesting cannabis did not help your athletic performance, which is why I'm confused that there's such a push in the NBA and they stopped basically penalizing or fining this in the NBA. So is this a good idea for the NCAA? Our number is 855-616-1620. That's the old National Bank talk and text line. Or does this send the wrong message? Or is this the right message? That, hey, it's legal. It's going to be legal everywhere in the United States at some point. And we're going to be behind the times as the NCAA if we continue to put guardrails around this, if we continue to penalize people and penalize athletes if they have it in their system. Is this the right message from the NCAA to drop the testing and the fines for marijuana usage? 855-616-1620 on the Old National Bank talk and text line. Your reaction, my response when we return.
You're listening to the Steve Scaffidi Show on WTMJ. This week on WTMJ.
Ray Banks is the former MPD assistant chief.
Until we're able to band together, we're probably going to always be struggling in the way that we're struggling right now with the young people in our community.
The big names.
It's the manager, Craig Counsell.
You know, these are the kids that my son's grown up with. It makes a memory forever for them, and that's a really cool thing.
The stories you're talking about.
There is no way in God's green earth that you would get me into one of these vessels.
News Radio WTMJ.
I'm certified financial planner Tony Drake with Drake & Associates. If you're retired or looking to retire soon, have you developed a strategy to minimize or eliminate the taxes when you start pulling money out of your IRA or 401k? If you haven't, then you have a very vulnerable plan because taxes are going up in the future. And if you look at the spending our government does, taxes could rise even more. Find out what's missing in your retirement strategy by requesting a copy of my Retirement Ready Toolkit that's loaded with materials designed to help protect you from taxes. Call or text TAX to 414-409-9982. That's calling or texting TAX to 414-409-9982 to get your free toolkit today.
Investment advisory services provided by Drake & Associates, LLC, an SEC-registered investment advisor. Insurance products are offered through a separate company, Loft Financial Advisory Group, LLC, a Wisconsin insurance agency. Clients are under no obligation to purchase any recommended insurance products.
I'm Brett Matchke, and you're due for service.
Richlands. Hey, WTMJ's John Burke here. I love the Fox and Hounds restaurant. Absolutely incredible, and was recently voted the best supper club in the area. It first opened in 1933 and has been serving fabulous dinners for almost 90 years in their gorgeous rustic timber building. When you buy one dinner, your second dinner is free 7 days a week, even Friday and Saturday. Every Wednesday, when you buy one world-class prime rib dinner, your second prime rib dinner is free. Order anything on the menu, you got it. Your second dinner's free. Made from scratch desserts to incredible ice cream drinks. Add a Manhattan, an old-fashioned, or over 100 wines to accent your dinner. The Fox and Hounds is family-owned and one of the most unique and affordable supper clubs in Wisconsin, and your second dinner is always free. Just off Highway 167, 2 miles east in the shadows of the beautiful Holy Hill Shrine. The summer drive is spectacular, a must-see. Enjoy a free prime rib dinner tonight or any entree. Tables are still open. Reserve at foxandhoundsrestaurant.com.
WTMJ, W277CV, and WKTI HD2 Milwaukee from the Annex Wealth Management Studios. This is News Radio WTMJ, a Good Karma brand station. Now, more of the Steve Scaffidi Show.
Thursday morning, I'm Tracy Johnson in for Steve Scaffidi. Brandon, we have an answer on the question about the 55 years. Something in my mind. Summerfest is celebrating 55 years. But something in my mind said they had to accommodate for that year that they didn't have Summerfest, right? In 2020 when they canceled. So technically, it's 56. 56 years since it started. But the 55th Summerfest.
Interesting.
So many organizations had to deal with that. So I don't know if that's 55 with an asterisk or I don't know.
Does it make it less special?
No, because I like the number 55. It's just nice and round. And
it is. Yeah, it is.
So it's good. So anyway, thank you from the 262. I appreciate your doing the Google research. So we were talking about the NCAA medical committee is saying that college athletes should no longer be penalized for using marijuana. And we had one texter who said, marijuana use negatively affects the performance of athletes, and they have no one to but themselves to blame for their diminished career opportunities. This problem will work itself out. which I think is a great point, because these athletes, many of these college athletes, are not going to go on and play in the NBA, right? They are going to, go out in the world, and they're going to work in businesses, work in the communities. And if they are, taking it upon themselves to, just say, okay, I'm going to take marijuana, I'm not going to consider the medical effects of it, or it calms my nerves, or, I'm going to take this, even though it diminishes your athletic performance, then it works itself out. But I think it places a burden and a potential opportunity for the schools to really educate and advocate for these students about the harms of taking these drugs. And what's going to happen, I fear, is that it's going to be conflicting messages at some point. And I think it's happening now, that they're saying, okay, we need to allow everyone to take and consume marijuana. It's not legal. But then all of the data shows that it is bad for you. It creates mental health issues. It creates depression. It creates a lack of productivity. So, I mean, this is a bigger issue, but I think the move by NCAA to say we're not going to penalize this anymore, this is a big statement by a big organization. And I know with all of these issues, the devil is in the details. But for right now, I think we wait and see. There's going to be a lot of research that goes into it, a lot of collaboration from the various institutions. But as we push as a society to decriminalize marijuana usage, this is going to be a bigger and bigger issue. It's 10:58 on WTMJ. The news is next. I'm Tracy Johnson, filling in for Steve Scaffidi.
You're listening to the Steve Scaffidi Show on WTMJ.
Hey, it's 620 WTMJ's Brian Z for Oconomowoc Dental Care and my guy, Dr. James Michaels. Summer is finally here. It's time to get ready for that warm weather. Graduations, weddings, all the travel plans that come with summer, plus your upcoming family events and all those photos and videos you're going to be taking. Make sure you have that best smile on display. Schedule your routine cleaning with my guy, Dr. Michaels. At Oconomowoc Dental Care, they're always going to make you as comfortable as possible when you're in the chair and give both you and your family an amazing smile. So whether it's a simple cleaning and exam, a more complex procedure, a teeth whitening, an implant, Dr. Michaels and the team at Oconomowoc Dental Care will take great care of you just like they take great care of me. At Oconomowoc Dental Care, affordable quality dentistry is no longer a dream, it's the reality. Dr. Michaels' fantastic staff can help you out with a no-interest payment plan. We all have to go to the dentist, so do not put it off any longer. Go see my guy, Dr. James Michaels at Oconomowoc Dental Care. Call his friendly and caring staff today and make your appointment.
Get your rock-solid guaranteed pre-approval to buy at accunet.com.
The place to get caught up, to speak out, to connect and be entertained. We are Wisconsin's radio station. News Radio 620 WTMJ, Milwaukee.
At 11 o'clock, it is 73 degrees. Today will be sunny and warm, a high of 83 at the lake, 87 degrees inland. From the WTMJ Breaking News Center, I'm Wyatt Barmore-Pooley. Summerfest beginning today. Eric Church, the headliner at the American Family Amphitheater. The big gig could prove to be a ticket to the big time for some local bands.
My head is going crazy every day.
Once-in-a-lifetime opportunity.
Ben Reed is with the pop-punk group Fall Back. A West Bend native, Reed tells WTMJ he's not overlooking what a slot on the Miller Lite Oasis stage could mean for them.
Especially at a bigger stage like this. I would love to headline there someday, but it's just awesome to be part of that experience and culture.
Mike Spalding, WTMJ.
Reed and Fallback are playing the Miller Lite Oasis stage Friday at 2:30. Time has likely run out for the 5 people who have been trapped in a submarine that was trying to dive to see the wreckage of the Titanic 2.5 miles underwater in the Atlantic Ocean. Crews from the U.S. as well as other nations have been working around the clock last few days to try and locate the vessel. So far, nothing definitive has turned up. ABC's Gio Benitez has more on one of the resources used to try to rescue the vessel.
We know that the French vehicle that's out there, it can go underwater and it has that arm that could free the sub if it were stuck, but it can't carry it up, right? So the hope would be that if it finds it, they could free the sub and then the sub would rise to the surface. But that journey alone would take 2.5 hours to go from the bottom of the sea all the way to the top.
Passengers now have likely ran out of their oxygen supply, which was supposed to last for 96 hours. Fresh new pavement for an ailing commute route.
This morning, southbound I-43 drivers have been switched to the west onto brand new pavement between Ferry Chasm Drive, just north of Brown Deer Road, to Good Hope Road, so crews can start working on the median area. They'll also be opening the Good Hope Road ramps as well. This is all part of the larger widening project along I-43, stretching from Glendale to Grafton, which is slated to be completely done in 2025. Debbie Laziga, WTMJ News.
The NBA draft taking place tonight. A young man from Muskego who played his high school ball in Delafield is expecting to hear his name called early.
Podziemski with the flush.
A four-star recruit in the class of 2021, Brandon Podziemski played his high school ball at St. John's Northwestern Academy, where he racked up over 2,100 career points.
Podziemski on the run. The reverse falls.
Podziemski is one of 19 athletes to be invited to the NBA's draft green room, signifying his position as a projected first-round pick. Greg Matzik, WTMJ News.
Podziemski making it rain.
More sports, traffic, and weather coming up next. Citing Unlimited, WTMJ News. Time is 11:03.
This report sponsored by Mr. Holland's Heating and Air Conditioning. Visit MrHollandsHeatingandAir.com.
Mr. Holland's Home Services presents things that are exceptionally rare. The 1909 Honus Wagner baseball card, a 1937 three-legged buffalo nickel, a 4K photograph of Sasquatch, and service companies that show up on time. Now, Mr. Holland's crew can't help with antique trading cards and uncommon coinage, but we do take pride in being on time. We know that your time is more valuable than a Mint 78 Skywalker action figure, so we strive to be punctual and productive. A home service company that cares about your time. Now that's rarer than an uncooked steak. Is it time for a new air conditioner, tankless water heater, or a whole house backup generator? There's no time like the present for some practical proactivity. 866-992-1717. Or visit MrHollandsHomeservices.com. If you're looking for service that's as rare as hen's teeth, we can help.
Welcome back to Ask Hasselus. I'm Weston. What's your question?
I don't believe that's your real name. I also don't believe the Hasselus mattress has no employees.
Come see for yourself. Try and buy with no pushy sales guy.
I'm not buying it.
Well, if you are buying a new Beauty Rest or Sealy Posturepedic mattress between now and Monday, we'll take an additional $200 off.
Promise?
Promise.
Pinky?
Pinky.
Wow, you are serious.
Find an employee-free showroom near you or at Hasselus.com.
June is here, and as a Wisconsinite, you know that means nothing but blue skies and sunshine. So when the rubber meets the road, you better be ready for the rising temperatures ahead. This is Jim Griffin. We'll make vehicle maintenance easy peasy and breezy with summer service specials. We'll change your oil, inspect and rotate your tires, check the battery and air filter, give it a complete multi-point inspection, check your AC, and even change your wiper blades, all for $129.95. Good at all 5 Griffin dealerships.
Bucs forward Chris Middleton declines the $40.3 million option on his contract. Middleton could return to the Bucs on a multi-year deal for a lesser average annual value. NBA draft night tonight, the Bucs own just one selection, number 58 overall, the final pick in the 2-round event. Former St. John's Northwest Academy standout Brandon Podziemski invited to the green room. He's projected to be a first-round pick. And no game for the Brewers. A 10-game road trip begins tomorrow night in Cleveland against the Guardians. Milwaukee 1.5 games back of the Reds for first place in the NL Central. Greg Matzik, WTMJ Sports.
Taking a look at your roads, it is your Johnson & Sons paving time-saver traffic. Still seeing some slowdowns on 94 eastbound. It's right before the Zoo interchange. It's going to be about a 5-minute delay from the Zoo into downtown. It'll be an 11-minute ride. That's pretty much the only thing that's causing any delays. We also do have a disabled vehicle just reported about 10 minutes ago on the exit to Burleigh Street from 4145 northbound. Keep an eye out if that's the exit you're headed for. But other than that, everything else is looking good.
Traffic is sponsored by Smart Spaces. Adapt to the modern workplace. SmartSpacesWI.com.
How can Smart Spaces transform your business?
Creating technology, great culture, spaces that people really want to come to, attract talent, and keep that talent.
SmartSpacesWI.com.
Time for the WTMJ 5-day forecast. Great weather for the start of the big gig. Sunny and warm today, a high of 83 at the lake, 87 degrees inland. Tonight, partly cloudy skies, a low of 62. Tomorrow, mostly sunny skies continue, a high of 83 at the lake, near 90 inland. Saturday, we will have increasing clouds. It'll be warm and slightly more humid, a high of 85. Sunday, chance of showers and storms. It'll be cloudy, warm, and still humid, a high of 82. And Monday, chance of showers, mostly cloudy, a high of 75. Right now in Madison, it is 82. In Green Bay, it's 83. In Waukesha, it is 79. And in Milwaukee, it is 73 degrees. I'm Wyatt Barmar-Pooley. Sighting Unlimited, WTMJ News Time, 11:07.
Breaking down the biggest stories. Talking about what truly matters.
Sometimes I'll start a sentence, and I don't even know where it's going. I just hope I find it along the way, like an improv conversation.
And letting your voice be heard.
Hello. A political poll. I never have before, but go ahead, shoot. I don't know. I don't even know what that means.
Live from the Annex Wealth Management Studios at the Avenue.
It's showtime, everybody! Showtime!
Hey, people, it's showtime!
All right, everybody, it's showtime.
All right, everybody, it's showtime!
Now take your position. It's showtime.
Now, in for Steve, here's your host, Tracy Johnson.
It's 11:08 on WTMJ. Thanks for being with us on this gorgeous Thursday morning, opening day of Summerfest 55 down at the beautiful Milwaukee lakefront. Right now, we are so honored to have with us Rick Essenberg, who is the president and general counsel for the Wisconsin Institute for Law and Liberty. We had discussed a few weeks ago coming on and talking about potentially the release of some very important U.S. Supreme Court rulings. Those have not come down, but Wisconsin Institute for Law and Liberty is very engaged in many, many other topics. Rick, welcome to the show.
Well, thanks for having me on, Tracy.
So before we get into some of the issues that you have been most active in for the state of Wisconsin, going back to the U.S. Supreme Court, what are some of the important cases that we should be watching for, and what dictates the timeline for the Supreme Court releasing those important decisions?
Well, they release them by the end of the term, which is basically the end of June. And so, typically when we talk about controversial Supreme Court decisions, they involve a sharply divided court. Maybe it's 6-3, 5-4. And there are multiple opinions that are involved because even justices who agree on the results will differ on the reason that they reach that result. And so they'll all write separately, and they have to circulate those opinions, and they have to respond to each other. And so typically the things that are the most controversial, that generate the most public interest, are released toward the end of June. And particularly the last week of June, that's like Super Bowl weekend for lawyers who follow the Supreme Court. So we are in the middle of Super Bowl weekend right now, except it lasts a little bit longer than that. And the three big cases that people are still waiting on, one is a case involving President Biden's decision to unilaterally forgive a portion of student loans for the great majority of borrowers. The issue there is whether he had the statutory authority to do that, and there's a kind of an underlay to that as to whether or not the people who have sued, essentially the state of Nebraska Student Loan Agency and some other people, have standing to address that. And then there's a case called 303 Creative, which has to do with whether under the Colorado Public Accommodations Law, a website designer who wants to expand her business to design websites for weddings, but She is a devout Christian who believes that marriage is between a man and a woman, and she does not want to design sites for same-sex marriage. Can she be compelled to do so, or would she be violating the public accommodations law if she turned down, the business of a same-sex wedding? And then the big one it will address, the really, really big one will address affirmative action in college admissions. And there are really two cases there. One comes out of Harvard. That involves, of course, a private university, and the other a public university, the University of North Carolina. So the first case, the Harvard case, addresses the whether or not there are federal statutes that preclude taking race into account in college admission, and North Carolina squarely presents whether the Constitution, specifically the Equal Protection Clause, prevents that. And basically the rule up to now has been you can take race into account in college admissions, but only if you're not too obvious about it and too stringent about it. And whether or not that continues to be the case will be addressed in the Harvard and North Carolina decisions.
Wow, these are incredibly big issues, and I'm sure you're going to be back on when these all come to light. And it reminds me that just a year ago, speaking of controversial issues, the decision to overturn Roe versus Wade was announced or leaked, what have you. Do you suspect that we're going to see any leakage here, similar to what we saw last time? You think it's...
That was very, very, very unusual. My guess is that the court has really locked things down. I have always thought that if you ever identified who did that, and it's most likely an employee of the court, I don't think one of the justices did it, that person's career would be tremendously damaged, if not destroyed. So I don't think we're going to see that. And so the way it works, and the Wisconsin Supreme Court is different. The Wisconsin Supreme Court tells you a day or two before when they're going to release a decision, and then at between 8:30 and 9, it just shows up on their website and you read it. The United States Supreme Court operates differently. We know these decisions are going to come down either tomorrow or next week. We don't know, however, whether they have come down until the court assumes the bench and they announce in open court what their decisions are. And so, if you're a law nerd like me, what you do is you sign into this place called SCOTUS Blog, and they live blog the court session. And, you just wait, and then they tell you, the first case is such and such, the second case is such and such. And today there were 4 cases that were announced, and that was it. And so we wait until the next opinion day, which I think is tomorrow, to see when these cases are going to come down.
No, and I think that's really important that you said that, because after that announcement, we saw the faith and trust in our United States Supreme Court just take a dive. And, as the highest court in the land, we need to continue to preserve that. Now, another question about these U.S. Supreme Court rulings, similar to Roe v. Wade, what is the interplay or impact on state law or states' authority on any of those individual issues, or is that case by case dependent?
Well, it kind of depends on how they come down on the case. So, for example, on the affirmative action issue, I distinguished between Harvard and North Carolina. Harvard is not subject to the Equal Protection Clause. It is a private actor. The Equal Protection Clause says that the state may not deny anyone the equal protection of the laws, and then there's a whole body of law as to when that happens. But that only applies to government actors, and so that's why that case is implicated in the admissions policies of the University of North Carolina. It's a public institution. Harvard is private. They have more money than most of the nations on the face of the earth, but they're private, and so there the application would be federal statutes. Now, if it comes down on constitutional grounds, then nobody, no state actor can use race, but maybe, unless there's a statute that prohibits it, private actors like Harvard can. So you could see those cases going different ways, and so that there would be a different rule for private institutions than public institutions. And similarly, if you're interpreting a federal statute, then that may not apply to all units of government. So you have to really look at what the particular issue is and what sources of law govern it. But as a general matter, if federal law, either the Constitution or federal statute, is held to prohibit something, and that source of law, either the Constitution or a federal statute, applies to every state or every private entity, or every private entity with more than X employees, which is often the way it works, then that would apply on a sort of a nationwide basis.
No, Rick Essenberg, President and General Counsel for Wisconsin Institute for Law and Liberty. You make this sound so simple. I mean, and the way that you articulate it, we appreciate this so very much.
That's because I'm old and I've been doing this for a long time.
I love it. You got great experience, and you are I know we work with you. We're a client with the association that I work for, so I appreciate your work. When we come back after the break, I want to talk about school choice. There has been a lot of movement on this very important issue that Wisconsin Institute for Law and Liberty has been very involved with over the years. There were some recent decisions, not by the courts, but recent legislation by Governor Tony Evers. Want you to weigh in, talk about how sturdy some of this legislation will be moving forward and the impact for the students across Wisconsin. It's 11:18 on WTMJ.
You're listening to the Steve Scaffidi Show on WTMJ. Oh yeah, it's definitely baseball season. This is your place to catch every pitch.
Here it is. He struck him out swinging.
Home run.
Going back onto the track. It is gone. Mike Brasso goes deep.
And everything in between.
I want to find that tape. We got to find that tape. We'd be better off listening to adhesive tape.
We are the home of the Brewers on WTMJ.
Hi, this is WTMJ Steve Scaffidi for Educators Credit. When you open an Educators Credit Union checking account, you can say goodbye to surprise fees and hello to a whole lot of perks. Enjoy rewards, cash back, discounts, and card customization. With their convenient digital services and nationwide network of over 60,000 fee-free ATMs, you can also access your account anytime, anywhere. Join Educators Credit Union today and take advantage of all the benefits that come with a checking account. Get started at ECU.com, federally insured by NCUA.
Adopt US Kids presents What to Expect When You're Expecting a Teenager. Learning the lingo.
GOAT, G-O-A-T, acronym, stands for Greatest of All Time. As in, spaghetti sandwiches for dinner? They're my fave. Dad, you're the GOAT.
You don't have to speak teen to be a perfect parent. Thousands of teens in foster care will love you just the same. Visit adoptuskids.org. Brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, Adopt U.S. Kids, and the Ad Council.
Mr. Clean, Mr. Clean. Of course I use Mr. Clean Magic Eraser to clean tough messes off my stovetop and bathtub. But then I discovered I can also use it to easily clean my patio furniture and even my shoes. I'm hooked.
And when wipes won't cut it, I use Magic Eraser Sheets. They're thin and flexible erasers, perfect for everyday messes, like gunk on my counters and sinks. They really are magical.
The reviews are in. Mr. Clean Magic Eraser and Sheets make cleaning look easy.
Blain's Farm and Fleet's 4th of July sale is going on now. We're saluting the red, white, and blue with unbeatable deals on everything you need to celebrate outdoors. Like 20-pound bags of B&B Hickory Lump Charcoal. Buy one, get one half price. Assorted Technar Apex Zero-G hoses start at $34.99. New at Blain's, save $12 by mail-in rebate on Valspar Accolade interior paint and get $200 off a 12-inch sliding DeWalt compound miter saw.
Find value at Blain's Farm and Fleet.
Now, more of the Steve Scaffidi Show on WTMJ.
Welcome back on WTMJ. I'm Tracy Johnson in for Steve Scaffidi. We have Rick Essenberg with us. He is the president and general counsel for Wisconsin Institute for Law and Liberty. We spent the first segment talking about the U.S. Supreme Court decisions that have yet to be released. But now I want to focus on state issues, and specifically an issue that is actually very near and dear to me, which is school choice. Rick, Wisconsin Institute for Law and Liberty has been very involved with school choice over the years. Can you talk a little bit about that engagement and where we are today with this new legislation signed into law by Governor Tony Evers?
Well, a lot of what we've done over the years is, school choice has been, I think, quite firmly held to be constitutional. But a lot of issues arise with respect to the interplay between public school districts and in particular between the Department of Public Instruction and school choice. The DPI has historically not been sympathetic towards the program, I think is a nice way to put it. And so there are all these skirmishes that get fought over, how the program is to be administered and what the law permits and does not permit. But what I think we saw last week in the agreement that was reached between the Republican legislative leadership and the governor is something that we don't see very often now in this state. Probably wish we could see more of it. But this, what we saw was a compromise, and a compromise that I think benefited, varying contending sides in the educational debate. So the choice community was very concerned about closing what they call the funding gap. And that is that although, people complain, I think inexplicably and wrongly, that the choice program drains money from public schools. It really doesn't, particularly at the scale that it's come to reach. But there's a big funding gap because the voucher amount is much less than the per pupil expenditure in public schools. And so the choice community wanted that funding gap to be reduced, and Governor Evers wanted more money for public schools. And what happened is they struck a deal so that each side would get a little bit of what they wanted. So the funding gap was reduced significantly. It is one of the smallest funding gaps now in the country. It was, in particular, there was significant additional funding under the choice program provided for high schools. High schools had gotten a little bit more money than elementary schools under the choice program in the past. But, if you know anything about educational administration, it costs much more to educate a high school kid than a kid in elementary school. It's just the nature of, what you do at those particular levels. And so high schools got a nice bump. The funding gap was significantly reduced, and Governor Evers agreed to that. Now, why did Governor Evers agree to that? It's because he's an advocate of the choice program? No, he didn't change his mind. But he got some additional funding for public schools. And so, this is the way compromise works. Each side gets some of what they want. They tend not to get all of what they want. But this was, I think, a very significant victory for choice schools. Now, some people wanted the increase in the voucher amount to be more. And, I'm sure that they can make a good argument that it should be. But the problem is that when you have divided political leadership, when you have the legislature in the hand of the Republicans, you have the governor Democrat, you're going to compromise. You're not going to get everything you want. And that's just in the nature of politics. And I think this is a very, very good outcome for the choice schools. The increases in the voucher amount were much more than the increases in the public school. Basically, what happened in public schools is an increase in the revenue, the base that interacts with the revenue limit. And so it was a good outcome, certainly, for the choice community.
Well, Rick, when we think about the choice program, and in Wisconsin, we were purveyors in this program, and it's evolved very much over time. We have some questions on the text line about private institutions and how do they interface with the choice program, and is the curriculum mandated? Are there certain things that can or should or cannot be taught, or are they held to the same standards as a public school?
Well, there are differences. I mean, there are some curricular mandates that apply to choice schools. Not all of them. There are differences with respect to some of the obligations that a private institution has and is not funded to carry out. There are, although, there can be religious construction in the choice schools, it can be opt-out for those who don't want to, participate in that, and some people don't. But the regulatory structure, I think, is very, very different, much, much lighter than it is in public schools. And, that's the, we've been involved in advocating, for the choice program for a long time, and we were involved in a coalition that fought for this reduction in the funding gap that we just obtained. But one of the things that we try to emphasize is this isn't really about sector wars. This isn't about whether public schools are, public schools bad, choice schools good. Human beings are complicated, and one size tends not to fit all when it comes to educating children. And, some of our public schools aren't performing very well, and children will be better served by having an option to go to a private school, even a religious school, perhaps particularly a religious school for some of them. And that option, of course, is available, to people like me and you. But without the voucher program, it wouldn't be available to many, 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 many low-income people. And so this really is an opportunity to give kids who maybe need it most an opportunity to, if it works for them, to move out of the public schools into a situation that will give them a better chance.
Rick,
doesn't mean it's for everybody, but it is for many.
Yeah, and give them the opportunity. Real quick, one question about potential Supreme Court. Could this whole piece of legislation run into a buzzsaw with the Supreme Court if there's a filing?
Well, there probably will be a case in the state Supreme Court. The state Supreme Court has upheld the choice program against various challenges in the past. However, we know that there is one super PAC, in particular the ones associated with a beer company up north that puts pictures of Democratic politicians on cans of beer that are raising money to file a lawsuit. That lawsuit should not be successful. And in fact, after some United States Supreme Court programs, the one argument that they can't really make is that there's something wrong with money going to religious schools, but I'm sure that they'll advance some arguments. Those arguments, for example, they'll say that this violates the requirement for uniform district schools. That argument was considered by the court in the past. 25 years ago, it was rejected. But, nothing, there are no permanent defeats, and things always come back. And I suspect that somebody will file a lawsuit and make the same arguments, and you know what? We'll be there to hold the line.
Rick Essenberg, President and General Counsel for Wisconsin Institute for Law and Liberty, also known as WILL. Thank you so much for providing your insights on today's show.
Thank you, Tracy. Take care.
Thank you. 11:29 on WTMJ.
You're listening to the Steve Scaffidi Show on WTMJ.
Hey, Sandy, I still got some time before my show starts. Let's go play some cornhole.
Well, it's nice of you to invite me, Jeff, but I still got to prepare for the news. Plus, who actually calls it cornhole? Isn't it bags?
Whatever you call it, it's all at Summerfest. You can check out Jeff Wagner broadcasting live at Summerfest on Thursdays and Fridays from noon to 3 in the Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin Mobile Studio at the Gruber Law Office's Sports Zone by the lakefront.
Cornhole.
Thanks.
Cornhole.
It's WTMJ at Summerfest 2023.
What if you could build a six-figure retirement income with almost half the money saved? You heard that right. Get a discount on your retirement, creating a six-figure income with 40% less than traditional 401ks and mutual funds. Hi, I'm Mitch Lyons, best-selling author and executive producer of a new Hollywood documentary called The Baby Boomer Dilemma. In this film, economists and Nobel Prize-winning PhDs from Wharton, MIT, and Stanford share a strange concept I call the retirement discount. It gives you more retirement income with the same dollar saved, and your money is never at risk if the market crashes. That's right. If the market crashes 30%, you lose nothing. Even people who are on track have shifted money to this new strategy because it increases their retirement income or can allow them to stop working years sooner. So if you are over 50 and want a bigger, better retirement with less money, call to get a free copy of this brand new movie, 1-800-578-3535. This is a $30 value, but when you call today, you get it completely free, plus 2 hours of bonus behind-the-scenes footage. No credit card required. Call right now. 1-800-578-3535. That's 1-800-578-3535. Again, 1-800-578-3535.
Here's to soaking up surf culture on Wisconsin's fresh coast. Here's to beaches designed for people of all abilities. To sand between your toes and happiness in your heart. Here's to trading skylines for endless Wisconsin shorelines. And to ending each day with smiles all around. Here's to those who Wisconsin. Start your summer getaway at travelwisconsin.com.
WTMJ's Vince Vitrano here for 911 Heating and Air, the AC company that stands by their craftsmanship. With an AC overhaul that includes a 2-year ice-cold unconditional guarantee on the entire system, not just the work that was done. They'll fix all refrigerant leaks, replace all faulty parts and components, and bring your unit back to life, warranted and guaranteed for 2 years. Trust the folks I trust for my heating and air needs. Call 414-HEATING or visit 911heatusa.com. Call or see website for details.
Now, more of the Steve Scaffidi Show on WTMJ.
Welcome back on WTMJ. Man, time flies when you're having fun. But right now, from the Breaking News Center, WTMJ, here's Wyatt Farmer-Pooley.
Thank you. Time has likely run out for the 5 people who have been trapped in a submarine that was trying to dive to see the wreckage of the Titanic. And we do have a new development in the search. The U.S. Coast Guard tweeting that a debris field has been discovered within the search area. That information is being evaluated by experts. It has not been confirmed yet whether that debris field is related to the Titan submarine that is the subject of the search. According to a news release, there is a press briefing that will be held by the Coast Guard this afternoon that will discuss findings in the search. That will be held at 2 p.m. Crews from the U.S. and other nations have been working around the clock for the last few days to try to locate the vessel, but so far, even with this update on the debris field, nothing definitive has been confirmed, and passengers have likely ran out of their oxygen supply, which is supposed to last for 96 hours. Again, nothing has been confirmed. A jogger who was hit by a car while running in St. Francis has died from his injuries. Gerard Jezewski of Milwaukee was hit last week while he was jogging along KK Avenue in Morgan in St. Francis. The driver remained at the scene. He could face charges, and a future funding mechanism for American Family Field up in the air. Assembly Speaker Robin Vos saying it is unlikely a bill that would provide funding for AmFam's upkeep will be voted on before July 4th. That had been the goal for the Speaker. Vos says negotiations are still ongoing. Time for news about your money, the WTMJ Annex Wealth Management Market Update. And we've now got the S&P 500 back in the green. It is up nearly 5 points. The NASDAQ up even more, over 0.5% up. The NASDAQ is up almost 75 points. The Dow still down, though, just 32 points down to 33,919. Get on track with investment and retirement planning. Visit AnnexWealth.com. You can click the Get Started button today. Now we'll take a look at your roads for your Johnson & Sons paving time saver traffic. We've still got that disabled vehicle reported on the exit to Burleigh Street from 4145 northbound. Keep an eye out for that. And then we've had these delays consistent for a little bit now. It is 94 eastbound from the zoo to downtown. Still looking at about a 5-minute delay. It's once you get through the zoo interchange, but before you get to the stadium interchange. So it's not either of the interchanges that are the problem. It's on the way between them. Again, that is a 5-minute delay and 11-minute ride.
Traffic is sponsored by Ken Michaels Furniture in Brookfield, Greenfield, or downtown Milwaukee. Milwaukee Mattress, where top-quality mattresses are priced hundreds less than premium national mattress brands. Found exclusively at Ken Michaels Furniture in Brookfield, Greenfield, and downtown Milwaukee.
Time for the WTMJ 5-day forecast. Sunny skies and warm today, a high of 83 at the lake, 87 degrees inland. Perfect for the start of Summerfest. Tonight, partly cloudy, a low of 62. Tomorrow, mostly sunny skies continue, a high of 83 at the lake, near 90 inland. Increasing clouds on Saturday. It'll be warm, but also now slightly humid, a high of 85. That will continue into Sunday, where we will get a chance of showers and storms. It will be cloudy, warm, and humid, a high of 82. And Monday, chance of showers, mostly cloudy skies, a high of 75. Right now in downtown Milwaukee, it is 73 degrees. I'm Wyatt Barmore-Pooley, Siding Unlimited, WTMJ News Time, 11:36.
Lake Geneva. It's where families have been making memories around the water for generations. Lakeside resorts and spas, award-winning restaurants, and charming shops are just the beginning of an unforgettable summer getaway. Lake cruises, boating, and beach lounging let you soak up the sun, water, and family time. Hike a lakeshore path, stargaze from an iconic observatory, or soar above it all in a hot air balloon. Go ziplining, visit an animal safari, or see dancing horses. Start making your memories today at visitlakegeneva.com.
What happens when you call your insurance company?
If you have water in your basement, press 1.
Most big companies have a recorded message or an app.
If you are in your living room and see sky when you look up, press 2.
But when something bad happens, you just want to talk to a person. On a day like that, that phone line can end up feeling like a lifeline. At a time like that, you want a company like West Bend, because the worst brings out our best.
If there is a tree in your bedroom, press 3.
Visit thesilverlining.com to find out more.
Eric Bilstead from Wisconsin's Morning News for J.D. Griffiths. For more than 75 years, J.D. Griffiths has been a leader in detached garage builds and premier garage doors. My wife and I have a house about 20 years old. We knew it was time. It needed an upgrade. The doors in the front of the house just looked a little dingy, banged up, so we went to jdgriffiths.com. That's the website, jdgriffiths.com. We got a free at-home estimate, and away we went. Just a few weeks later, brand new doors, and they look great. We were able to customize. We got a great look there. We have some windows now, so I get some nice natural light. And the garage doors are just one of the many things J.D. Griffiths does. They also, remember, detached garage builds as well, and they'll even service issues you're having with your garage doors currently. J.D. Griffiths and jdgriffiths.com. Go to the website now. Get your free at-home estimate set up. J.D. Griffiths and jdgriffiths.com.
This is the Steve Scaffidi Show on WTMJ.
Great to be with you on this Thursday morning. We've got about 22 minutes now before the gates for Summerfest officially open. I wonder what the crowd's like down there. I know Jeff Wagner will be broadcasting live from the Summerfest grounds from 12 to 3 today and tomorrow, by the way. So anyway, we just had Rick Essenberg on. He's the president and general counsel for WIL, the Wisconsin Institute for Law and Liberty. And we were discussing the timing of the U.S. Supreme Court rulings as they're expected to come down over the next couple of days and weeks before the end of the term. And one of the most, sought after ruling, just understanding the decision around the ruling of the loan repayments, the student loan debt forgiveness that President Biden had signed through executive order, that is being challenged at the U.S. Supreme Court. And depending on how that goes, I think will set the tone for a lot of borrowers across the United States. In fact, around 44 million borrowers in the U.S. were affected by the payment pause, which initially began in March of 2020 on the onset of COVID-19 pandemic. And the administration continued that pause or extended the pause for the 8th time in November, with its broader debt forgiveness plan tied up in legal limbo. So we're awaiting that decision. But in the meantime, there are other economic factors that are coming into consideration and that people are talking about. And the most prominent one, in my mind, is that of retail. And the retailers that have benefited from the fact that these borrowers, 44 million borrowers, are not having to pay between $200 and $299 per month on their student loan debt. So they're spending that money on retail, whether it's Target or Nordstrom. These were some of the companies that were named: Nike, Steve Madden, Under Armour, Gap, Canada Goose, Crocs, a number of the retailers who have expressed concern and are on the watch list because of the impact that the fact that this major, huge group of consumers who are spending hundreds of dollars each month, they're no longer going to have access to that cash. So the broader implications, not only on retail, but housing and auto, these are all real concerns. And this is what happens when this type of decision is made. When an executive order of this magnitude, 44 million people are affected by the student loan pause. And I don't know the numbers of the people who are not paying or the number of people who are actually socking away the money in anticipation for this to at some point end. I'm guessing not very many. I'm guessing many of these borrowers are saying, you know what, this is all going to be okay. I'm going to be taken care of. Well, no. I mean, there is a very real possibility. There's an imminent possibility and likelihood that you are going to have to start these payments again. Now, I don't know if it's with interest or without interest, but at some point, you got to come back to reality. And the broader economic impact, I think, is yet to be known. I actually feel a little bit sorry for those who thought they would be able to write off this debt and wouldn't have to worry about it in the future. And we don't know how the Supreme Court is going to rule, but that sense of unknowing, the stress that's being caused, I think is real. There's one company, though, that is seeing this as an opportunity, and I think many more will continue to follow suit, and that is Adidas. Adidas Corporate, and they employ 10,000 people in the U.S. and about 59,000 employees globally. Adidas is now offering student loan help for its U.S. employees. On Tuesday, the global shoe and apparel retailer announced that full-time employees who work at least 30 hours a week will qualify for a $100 per month or $1,200 per year stipend through the company's new student loan support program. Now, not only does this company cater to millennial audience, but many of their employees are young millennial workers who would be impacted by this. The $1,200 annual stipend could reduce the length of education loan payments by almost 5 years. I think this is a good idea. And I think that other companies will look at this as an opportunity to recruit, especially that young talent. The story also points out that something like 80% of Adidas's employees said that this student debt causes them significant stress. And so they're looking to say, hey, let me reduce this stress for you. Let me lighten the burden. Let me use this as a recruiting opportunity, because these people haven't been paying on their loans for the last several years. Can we take this burden off of you and use this as a carrot? I think it's a great idea. And I think other companies will continue to follow suit. But I think we especially the stock market, going to have its eye on those retail segments, which, as we talked about earlier in the show, retail is a volatile segment. It's a strong segment right now, but it's a volatile segment that relies heavily on people's ability to have access to cash, have access to credit. And right now, for 44 million Americans who have had a pause on their student loan debt, they're going to be without $200 to $300 a month to spend that money. Interesting topic. I'm sure this is going to continue to evolve. Right now, it's 11:44 on WTMJ.
This is the Steve Scaffidi Show on WTMJ.
A wiser way to build your wealth.
A wiser way to build your wealth starts with choosing a financial planning firm that is fee only, because it means they work for you. Fee-only firms like Financial Strategies, Inc. don't work for a bank or brokerage firm or an insurance company or mutual fund company, because we don't want our decisions for your best interest compromised in any way. We work for you. and only in your best interest. And fee only means the success we care about most is yours. Ask your advisor, are you 100% fee only for 100% of your clients 100% of the time? If they answer no, get a second opinion. I'm Jim Cantrell with Financial Strategies, Inc., a fee-only, comprehensive financial planning firm. And I believe we can show you a wiser way to build your wealth. So go to financialstrategiesinc.com and schedule a no-cost consultation.
Financial strategies, a wiser way to build your wealth.
WTMJ's Vince Vitrano here for Sister Bay Furniture. Summer is finally here. Time to fire up the grill for some quality outdoor time with friends and family, and everyone will enjoy relaxing on your Sister Bay Furniture. Sister Bay Furniture is premium, high-quality outdoor furniture built in Wisconsin, built for Wisconsin. Premium, sustainable materials designed to survive years of Wisconsin weather. That's commercial-grade quality for your outdoor space. Customize your Sister Bay Furniture set. Pick from several different styles and colors to fit your unique outdoor space. Need professional help? Sister Bay Furniture has a team of in-house design experts. They can help you plan and create the outdoor space of your dreams. Right now, when you go to Sister Bay Furniture, tell them Vince Vitrano from WTMJ sent you, and you get an additional 10% off already reduced prices, including ready-to-take-home sets. You can visit the website to shop ahead, sisterbayfurniture.com, to see the entire selection. That's sisterbayfurniture.com.
Get rid of nasty household chemicals properly. There's a free one-day collection at Cardinal Stritch this Saturday. Use the main entrance off Port Washington Road. Get all the details at mmsd.com. Milwaukee County residents only, no businesses.
The only diamond more valuable than colorless
is the diamond that is colorful. Pink, yellow, and blue.
In 2016, Christie's auction house sold a 14-karat blue diamond for $56 million.
That's $4 million a carat.
In 2022, Sotheby's auction house sold an 11-karat pink diamond for $57 million.
That's more than $5 million a carat.
These diamonds were born when the earth was born.
They come from the heart of the earth.
But now there are also pink, yellow, and blue diamonds that were born when you were falling in love.
These created diamonds come from the fiery heart of a miniature sun blazing inside a plasma chamber. Hot, hot, hot.
Pink, yellow, and blue.
Your colorful 1-carat wonder awaits you for $12,000 or less.
Your colorful 3/4-carat miracle awaits you for $8,000 or less.
Get them while you can. Welcome to Kessler's.
To find the Kesslers nearest you, visit KesslersDiamonds.com.
Now, more of the Steve Scaffidi Show on WTMJ.
Welcome back. Great to be with you on this Thursday morning. I am Tracy Johnson in for Steve Scaffidi for one and only one day this week. So this was good to get through. Lots of news to cover. I know we have some developing news with the submersible. They found some debris. They don't know where the debris came from. But there is a news conference scheduled for 2 o'clock today. So I'm sure we'll be following that here on WTMJ. In the last segment, we had discussed the fact that the student loan debt payments are going to be coming due. And to that end, those who took out the loans and have not been repaying those loans because of executive order, that they didn't have to, they are going to be without $200 to $300 a month in expendable income, because they're going to be using the money that they were normally spending on shoes and clothes and food. That's going to be going to pay back their student loan debt as they had agreed to initially. But the implication on the broader retail market and the stock market, I think, is one that we really need to be thinking about. And one company, Adidas, is offering to pay employees $100 towards their student loan debt repayment. And they're using it as a recruiting tool. I think it's a great idea, and it will become, I think, a broader concept as we continue to look forward and try to solve this, not only for our employment situation, but for trying to close the gap for this lost revenue for these individuals. So speaking of work, one more topic that is not only related to work, but also about commercial real estate. And as we've discussed, this is the area that I work in, commercial real estate. And I am never at a loss for discussion points. Many of the people I work with are the most popular people at the cocktail parties because people are always wondering, what's happening in retail? What's happening in office? What's moving in here? What's going on? So anyway, with more people working from home, the hybrid is here to stay. There is serious concern about what's happening in the office segment. And especially with office markets in big cities where you have these huge office towers, where you have dense office environment, tens of thousands of employees. You are seeing only 55 to 60% of workers occupying that space on a daily basis. So these office buildings are often vacant. And it is not the same in every city. Some cities, it's more pronounced than others. And I think that there are many cities that are looking at the policies and procedures across the country to say what's working and what can I learn something, what's not working. And I think a perfect example of a city that is not working is San Francisco and Los Angeles. They have right now the phenomenon is called zombie office buildings. These office buildings are basically the Walking Dead before they're being turned over to the banks because they just do not have the rent rolls. There's no tenants, there's no workers. The spillover effect is that there's no vibrancy or economic impact throughout the city. And again, this is more pronounced in those cities that are denser, home to more global Fortune 500 companies, and more pronounced where there's more tech jobs, as well as the cities, and this is very important, as well as those cities that had restrictive COVID policies, like New York and California. They thought they were being restrictive at the time and it was going to be a good thing, but the long-term impacts are starting to bear. They're actually in the process of taking down these cities. They can no longer come back for tourism, for retail. You're starting to see more crime. You're starting to see people fearful of living within these cities, and ultimately the economic hardship for these cities themselves. But I saw a different story here in Wisconsin, and